live from Studio 6B on a Friday night, 7 p.m. on the East Coast. Wait, what? You heard me. 7 p.m. on the East Coast, an hour early.
Wow, is this going to be a 3-hour show?
An extra, it could be 4. An extra live from Studio 6B hour as we get ready for pre-rally coverage here. President Trump heading to Reno, Nevada, to do it twice today. I watched his whole speech out in Aurora, Colorado. Got done around 5 o'clock. Now he's headed over to Reno to do it all over again. President looks energized. Great speech in Aurora today. So pre-rally coverage here of the Trump rally in Reno, Nevada, as I say it correct. I'll try to say it correct all night long tonight. The boys Slick Rick will be here. Rick Delgado's already here. We've got a bunch of great sponsors sponsoring tonight's pre-rally coverage. And, of course, we want to thank TrumpTumbler.com, Birch Gold, Patriot Mobile, The Wellness Company, and AMAC, all absolutely great companies. And we appreciate their support in pre-rally coverage for President Trump live in Reno, Nevada. We'll talk about them throughout the night. But Rick Delgado, how are you?
I am good.
It's a Pizza Friday, Rally Friday.
It's an early Pizza Friday, Rally Friday.
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous because we're not in our normal slot.
Ooh, a little nervous here, not in our time slot.
And I don't want Grant to get mad at us.
Yeah, so well, people tuning in going, wait, Grant's much better looking, much smarter. Who are these two schleps? Yes.
Right. Wait till the third schlep gets here.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. But I'm fired up, and we got the great Ben Berkwam on the ground in Reno. Ben, of course, one of our absolute favorites. We'll connect with Ben. As a matter of fact, whenever we have Ben, just let me know, Aaron. We'll go to Ben. And I'm sure Ben will be out there with real American voices tonight at the Trump rally. And listen, we are in the home stretch.
Yeah.
Wherever the president goes now, people are fired up, not only to see him, but they're fired up because they can feel the momentum. They're fired up because they're seeing what's going on with the polling. They're fired up because they're seeing what's going on with her. Hard to imagine a worse 2 weeks than what she has had. In the interviews she's doing last night, Univision on, I believe it was on CNN.
Oh, my goodness.
This taping they did, and it comes out that she's using teleprompters even in this. And, of course, they freaked out when they had that wide jib shot of the camera shot that came from behind her and showed the thing right in front of her. And they blacked it out real quick when oh, my God, cut it.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's just crazy.
Yeah.
It's insane. But this
this
is who she is.
I think actually today she spoke, and I actually took about 2 minutes of it, and I couldn't stomach any more. But I think she actually was talking today without a teleprompter. She was looking back and forth and doing this gibberish on John McCain. Isn't it amazing? Here, I said this a month or so ago. Here's where we're at now. Now the Democrats love John McCain because she was in Arizona. And they love Dick Cheney.
Yeah.
Dick Cheney, who left office with a 13% approval rating, who the Democrats called as bad of names as they do Trump, but now he's their hero. Now he's their hero, the Cheneys and the McCains.
Yeah, it's insane. And they want President Bush to endorse Kamala Harris as well, I'm hearing. They're pushing for that because they want to make it seem like everybody else is crazy. These are the outliers. You can't look, even Republicans that you love are standing up for Kamala. Meanwhile, everybody knows that these aren't the greatest Republicans. As history has gone on to show, they've done some things and are responsible for things that weren't really in the best interest of not only the American people, but of the country itself. And it's all been exposed by someone named Donald J. Trump, who basically has shined a light on all this crap and just pointing it out, saying, look, you got to question this stuff. And more people are questioning it, and thank goodness for that. And it's fun to watch this made-up candidate who, again, never won a primary vote, didn't even make it to Iowa. She was the first one to drop out. She was so terrible. And then she was handpicked to be a vice president. Still never did anything. Doesn't have anything to stand on policy-wise, achievement-wise. It's fun to watch her implode.
We got some speakers who are live in No one's at the podium right now. Okay, my fault. I thought there was somebody at the podium, but we'll keep an eye. You can even keep it up if you want, Aaron, as the speakers come up. We'll dip in and listen to the speakers. Let me know if and when we have Ben. We'll go to Ben as well. Ben Bergquam on the ground in Reno. Now there is a speaker. All right, let's listen in here.
All right.
Oh, this
Look,
is
it is so humbling to be here with you today
Brown, I
in
believe
Reno,
his last name
Nevada,
is.
where we matter so much.
Take it full, Aaron.
Let me tell you this. This is an up and down race. And what I mean by that is the things that have gone up are our costs. Cost of housing has gone up. Cost of our gas has gone up. Cost of our pharmaceuticals has gone up. Jackie Rosen's net worth has gone up. But what we're going to do is we're going to win. President Trump is going to win. We're going to back him up in the Senate. And when we win, here's what we can expect. Our cost of housing is going to go down. President Trump's got a plan to make sure that the cost of the essentials goes down. I'm talking about our food, our fuel, medication. We're going to eliminate taxes on tips. We're going to eliminate taxes on Social Security benefits. And who wants to make sure that we secure the border? Nevada, day one, we secure the border. We have got to confront the cartel. We have got to ensure that the cartel that is delivering not only fentanyl across our borders, but is delivering known terrorists. We now find out that there are 13,000 convicted murderers who've been allowed into our country. That will stop. And let me just share with you this. Because like many of you, I know how painful it's been these last 4 years. 6 years ago, I was working at an Amazon fulfillment center about 7 miles up the road here. As Jackie Rosen was running for her first Senate election, I was packing up boxes and loading those boxes onto trailers. What a miracle in our country that someone who's gone from there 6 years ago, 4 years ago, like so many of the people wearing red around here today and volunteering, 4 years ago, I was a volunteer at the Minden Trump rally that was so famous, and today I stand here as your nominee for U.S. Senate in Nevada. So together with President Trump, who knows what sacrifice for this country looks like, who has put it all on the line, including taking a bullet from a shooter in Butler, Pennsylvania, President Trump and I will make America great again. We'll make Nevada great again, and we will win. Thank you all so much.
All right, there you go. Sam Brown running for Senate at the pre-Trump rally coverage brought to you by the great people over at TrumpTumbler.com, Birch Gold, Patriot Mobile, Wellness Company, and AMAC. Let me talk to you about TrumpTumbler.com while we have a second here. I want to thank them for the support. Right now, they have a limited release Trump collectible tumbler of heroic Trump on top of a tank, and it is a badass picture. It is a good-looking picture. It's 100% made in the USA, headquartered in the United States, includes a lifetime guarantee. That means for any reason, if any of the tumblers you've purchased from them are damaged, they'll give you a free refund or a free replacement. No questions asked. These tumblers are double wall vacuum insulated to keep your beverage piping hot for up to 8 hours or ice cold for up to 24 hours. Tumblers are made with strong shatterproof yet lightweight PBA free material. It also does not retain taste or odors. Very important. The tumblers come with a PBA-free travel lid that keeps it 100% leak-proof. It also has a drinking hole that you can sip from or insert a straw into. Tumblers are made for easy use, storage, and washing. Dishwasher, microwave, freezer safe. They're also the perfect size, fit most cup holders, so you can sip on the god. Support today's Real America's Voice coverage by supporting TrumpTumbler.com. Head over to TrumpTumbler.com to claim yours today before they run out. Head over to TrumpTumbler.com. There you kind of see it at the bottom of the page, man. It is a good-looking tumbler. It is a good-looking picture. And when you look at it, you think, well, man, I could see Trump taking that picture. I could absolutely see him taking that picture. So head over to TrumpTumbler.com, claim yours today before they run out. All right, let's go back to the stage.
Business ownership is what drives our middle class. And our middle class is what defines our culture. But what makes the small business work is the service industry. It's those who get out every single day, every morning, and to get their very best so they can get a good tip and move forward. What our president's doing is saying this: no tax on tips. Keep your money so you go out and build your dream. This is going to be America that makes the dream possible again, and that's President Trump. So I want to thank you guys for doing everything you're doing. Just keep this in mind. Things are tough right now. Again, the numbers are all in there. Just know that Nevada, this area, 21% increase in inflation. You're looking at $1,200 per month that's no longer there. Imagine taking your budget and stripping out $14,000 a year, and you wonder why the pressure is on these families, on couples to survive. We now know that this is all on purpose, and because of it, we're going to change this thing out. Here's my ask, my friends, real simple. Let's go for the trifecta. Let's get a bigger majority in the House. Let's get the Senate. Let's get President Trump. We will have the first time in our history an America First legislative body. And here's the difference. For the first time, American people are waking up. They are engaged. And not only do we have America First legislative body that believes in we the people, we have the American people backing us up. The next 2 to 4 years, get ready for a remarkable good times, my friends. We have a president who makes sure that happens, and the down ballot will back him up and make sure you are represented in D.C. So let's make it happen. There's one thing I learned from the Raiders a while back, but actually there's two statements I'll give to my goats. One goat was Al Davis, and Al Davis made a statement, 3-word statement: just win, baby. And the other goat gave us 3 remarkable, iconic words: fight, fight, fight. Okay, take care.
All right, there's Burgess Owens there taking the stage.
Yeah.
Fight, fight, fight.
And before that, we had Sam Brown. He's running for U.S. Senate. That's Captain.
Yes, it is.
Sam Brown.
Yes, it is. It's a live shot of Reno, Nevada, as we wait for President Trump, who was earlier today in Aurora, Colorado. Gave a heck of a speech in Aurora, Colorado, and I'm assuming he'll hit some of the same themes tonight. But obviously, given what's going on in Aurora, Colorado, President was very strong, talking about migrant crisis, obviously what's going on there.
Right.
Really hammered the governor of Colorado, who doesn't think it's a problem. So, all right, let's go back to the stage. Another speaker. Let's listen in.
With Mark. How about my guy from Utah, Burgess Owens, huh? When I first met him, I introduced him at a fundraiser for him in Las Vegas, and I said, I read your book, and you went to Miami, and you actually got a degree in biology, much smarter guy than me. But we got around to the end and just stuff, and I said, I was a wide receiver in high school, and I think I could have got behind you. He smiled politely, and lucky for him, he didn't ask me to prove it. Hey, folks, I know there's people here from all over, and I know there's a lot of people here from the Truckee Meadows. Anybody in the house from the Truckee Meadows? First of all, don't think that nobody said thank you. We all thank you for your enthusiasm. I want to tell you a couple real quick stories, and then we're moving on. So, here's one. I need your help. And I really need your help in two areas where people are frustrated, saying, well, how come the border, and how come this, and how come that? And I'm like, well, guess what? Your Republican House of Representatives sent over a bill 17 months ago on the border. It was called H.R. 2. Changed all that stuff. Been sitting on Chuck Schumer's desk for 17 months. I need your help to put Sam Brown in the United States Senate. Please, I said please. I need your help in another area. You know, during the 13 years that I have had the responsibility and the honor of representing you in Washington, D.C., because it's the only seat out of all of them whose reason for getting up in the morning is Northern Nevada. Yeah, not Northern California, Northern Nevada. And there's nothing wrong being from California, except that all of you people that came here from California came for some very good reasons. Yeah. Here's the other one I need your help with. When you hear things recently about, oh, there might not be enough money to help hurricane victims because Alejandro Mayorkas, who the House impeached, by the way, basically decided to pay a bunch of COVID stuff, and cut down the account for folks in North Carolina, West Virginia, blah, blah, blah. During the 13 years that I've served, in only 2 years did we have the House, the Senate, and the White House. That was the first 2 years of the 45th President of the United States, Donald Trump. And by the way, we didn't waste that time. We went. I need your help here in the Truckee Meadows. I need your help to make Donald Trump be one of those people that is a Republican who won the Truckee Meadows. Thank you very much. Go Nevada. Go Donald Trump.
All right, there you go. Another speaker in Reno as we await President Trump, who's going to take the stage there. Somewhere in the 8:30 to 9:30 range, I would suspect. Got done in Colorado around 5 o'clock. So by the time he got done doing what he had to do there, make his way to Reno, do what he has to do on the ground, meet some people, shake some hands. I would suspect the president is somewhere between the 8:30 and 9:30 range, and he'll come out and obviously talk about the election. And that gives me a chance to talk to you about one of our great sponsors tonight, and that, of course, is Birch Gold. There's a lot at stake at this election. But regardless of who's sitting in the White House, the fuse on the economy has already been lit, and you know that. Even for years of a conservative presidency will not be enough to turn the tide on what now is $35 trillion in national debt. And if the left wins, it'll be like throwing gas on a dumpster fire. You don't have too much control over the election outcome, but you can protect your savings right now by diversifying into gold with the help of Birch Gold. For a millennia, gold has stood firm in the face of greedy governments, economic upheaval, global strife, and it can protect you, and it can do it right now. Birch Gold will help you convert an IRA or 401k into an IRA in physical gold, tax-free, penalty-free, and it doesn't cost you a penny out of pocket. In the past 4 years, the buying power of the U.S. dollar has declined. The price of gold has increased 40%. Coincidence? I think not. Text the word America to 989898. Get your free information kit on gold. Trust Birch Gold to protect your savings. Text America to the number 989898 today and see if gold is right from you from our friends at Birch Gold. And again, we appreciate their sponsorship along with our other great sponsors tonight in pre-rally coverage for President Trump in Reno. TrumpTumbler.com, Patriot Mobile, the Wellness Company, and AMAC as well. We appreciate all of them. We'll keep an eye on the stage. We're going to have Ben Berquam on the ground as well, talking to some real Americans. We'll talk to Ben as well. But as I was saying before, Delgado, just feel like every one of these as we get closer, and I think the president's full bore ahead. I think, you're going to have a couple of these every week, if not 5, 6 a week. Yeah. Just feels like the momentum is growing. The people who end up coming to these, the excitement is better, the fervor's better. The president's fired up. He was great this afternoon in Colorado. Just full steam ahead. Just changed it up a little, got some more video elements. I think the speech tonight's going to be great.
Yeah, and you know what? I missed this afternoon because I was busy doing other things. From what I heard you say, he was kind of firing on all cylinders, and that's what you need. This is the home stretch, right? What are we, 25 days out?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yep.
24?
All right, let's go to the stage. Chairman of the RNC there in Nevada, Michael McDonald's on stage.
I do that. I sent it to the president so he knows about this crowd. You know, we've been doing that since 2015. It never gets old. Nevada, I want to take you back. When I was coming in here tonight, I saw so many friends, family members. How long this has started for us. I'm going to take you back real quick. Remember, we voted to have a caucus, not a primary, because we wanted fair and open elections. You did that. When we drove through the snow in a blizzard to deliver the ballots to our county, got a flat tire. You guys showed up as family to make sure those ballots were delivered, and we have a successful caucus. Then comes the day, February. We have the primary, none of the above wins, and all the critics, all the Democrats all said, no one's going to show up. Who the hell's going to show up for Thursday? There's no one, none of the above won. You did. 60,000 people voted in 2 hours. 2 hours to deliver your message. And I was talking to some of our media, and it's a great privilege they were here tonight. They were delivering the message. I said, not in our house. This is your house, ladies and gentlemen. They asked how we're going to deliver it. You secure your house. You make sure you get your people out to vote. And when I say your people, anybody you know, you get them to vote like they owe you money. You drag them out. You hound them till you get their ballots, because now we can ballot harvest. That's kind of against our principle. But the Democrats changed the rules, so the best thing to do is play by the rules. Make sure you harvest ballots. You get your neighbors' ballots if they can't go. You help them to the polls. You vote early. If you want to vote on election day, you grab your neighbors, you grab your friends, you show up. We have the main thing. As Congressman Mark Amadei, Sam Brown, all of them said, we have to vote for president, down ticket, to secure our state. Now with that, I'm going to ask you, deliver a message for me. Sam Brown mentioned it. How do you remember that fateful day when some scumbag shot our president? I'm man enough to say I cried. That man's my friend, he's my leader, and he's our president. The greatest moment we had, because it defines each and every one of us as Americans, is when he stood up, looked around, didn't duck for cover, and said, fight, 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 stand up, let them hear you, California, fight, fight. That is your power, right there. That is your power. You get out, you vote, you grab your neighbors. I'm so serious about this. We've taken voter registration to the new level for Republicans. We've taken it to the working class men and women to deliver for the president. You've done that. We have union leaders that are now coming over. We have people that have never voted for the president before, independents, Republicans, Democrats that have seen the light, that want to take this country back and want to make sure we move this country forward together. So when you do that, when you're saying fight, your vote is your voice. Trump! God bless you.
There you go. Chair of the RNC, I believe they're in Nevada.
Yeah.
Mike McDonald.
A little scary. I was expecting, Mike McDonald. You think of the Doobie Brothers. I wasn't expecting a WWE kind of,
That was good.
presentation, but I liked it.
Hey, listen, he made one. He made maybe the most important point. We got to start playing by their rules.
Yeah.
And Nevada is one place. Oh, see, I almost slipped. Nevada is one place we can do it. Ballot harvesting is legal. Republicans got to do it.
Yep.
We got to play by their rules on their playing field where we can. And he makes the point. It goes against. It doesn't matter what it goes against. Your feelings, your whatever, your values,
Your principles.
your principles. You're up against people who play with brass knuckles. And they don't give a damn about your principles or anything else. So we got where we can do it, we got to do it. And he makes mention of what Michael Watley made mention of yesterday. That registration among Republicans, activity among Republicans, early voting among Republicans, mail by ballot by ballot by mail by Republicans, all churning up, all heading in the right direction. I heard Newt Gingrich today, and I thought his quote was just fantastic. He said this morning on the Mark Halperin show that he's almost convinced that Jill, doctor, the good doctor,
The good doctor.
has said to oatmeal brains, you know what, Joe, after all of this, let's do what we can to make sure that you go down in history as the only candidate who's ever beaten Trump at the ballot box. And he's convinced of it, that they're trying to sabotage her at this point. That was Newt this morning.
Right.
And I thought, yes, sir. We've talked about it for 2 days now.
Yeah. Actually, we talked about it for longer than that.
Well, I mean, but it's really been the counter programming he's clearly done
Yeah. And,
has been obvious. So, all right, let's take a break while we can. We'll come back. The great Ben Bergquam live from Reno. More speakers as we get ready for President Trump to take the stage in Reno. Pre-rally coverage right here, Real America's Voice. We'll take a break and we'll be back right after this.
live in the chat on a Pizza Friday. Chat? Oh.
Are we live? We're live in the chat, right?
Okay. It's
And
Pizza
the breaks
Friday.
are 2 minutes only? Okay. What's up, chat? This will not be a regular show. We're not going to have as much time to get into the chat, but welcome everybody, wherever you are, Facebook, X. Benny Bergquam, Ben Bergquam. Can you hear me, Ben?
What's up?
What's up,
I got
Ben?
you, brother.
What's
you
up,
hear
buddy?
me?
I can hear you. I can
Hello,
see you. You
hello.
look good. You sound good.
Hey, you got fans. You got fans all over America. All these rallies I go to,
Come on,
they're all
stop.
rocking their Studio 6B shirts. I'm just telling you. But I ask people, who's your favorite, and I got to tell you, Slick Rick gets a lot of love, baby. We just lost some lighting.
I thought you were going to say Steve Bannon. I was going to say, well, of course he's the favorite. I mean, he's our favorite too. I mean, you and Bannon are probably the top two favorite of everybody. But we'll happily take third or fourth. I'm happy to take 10th. I don't care. So, all right, we're live in the chat, Ben. So the chat says hello.
The lights went way down.
Okay.
30 seconds.
Hello, chats.
Yes.
Hello, chatters.
They're getting a sneak preview of Ben Bergquam here in the commercial break as we get ready to take him live and air in 15 seconds. Ben, we're back with you right after this. 30 minutes past the hour, live from Studio 6B on a Friday night. Yes, we are in the 7 o'clock hour, and we are here pre-Trump speech in Nevada, rally coverage. Rick Delgado's joining me. Slick Rick will be here in a little bit. But we're doing pre-rally coverage for President Trump's second speech of the day. I heard him in Colorado this afternoon. He was fantastic, really focusing in on, obviously, illegals, migrant crime, what's going on there in Aurora, Colorado. Proposed, some pretty tough things. Trump said he's going to call for the death penalty on any migrant that kills an American citizen or law enforcement. I mean, point to somebody who's not down with that, by the way. Find me somebody raise your hand if you're not down with the death penalty for someone who kills a police officer. So, pretty strong stuff.
Yeah, and going after the gangs.
Yeah. Our pre-rally coverage, of course, is brought to you by our friends over at TrumpTumbler.com, Birch Gold, Patriot Mobile, The Wellness Company, and AMAC. All great people, great companies. We appreciate them joining us tonight for pre-rally coverage. Let's go live out to Reno, and our man on the ground, the great one and only Ben Bergquam. There he is, the man who's out there talking to the real American voices. Of course, the best border coverage there is, the best man on the street interview there is. There he is, Ben Bergquam. How are you?
Doing well, man. Just another rally. Amazing people. We're at the GSR Hotel. My friend Matt, one of the GMs out here, amazing guy. Packed as always. You know, it's crazy. This facility, I'm guessing, will hold around 5,000. But you go outside and it is packed. There's a whole nother ballroom that's packed full of people. No way they're all getting in here. Actually, walking in here, the hallways, and you know, hotels are basically set up to be labyrinths. The whole entire hotel as you walk in is Trump. And I was talking to one of the guys here, can't say who. Walls came here just a little while ago, and he said he didn't get a tenth of the turnout, probably not even 100th of the turnout. Nobody likes that guy. People aren't buying it. They're not buying Kamala. They're sick of it. And in particular, you see President Trump out there in Aurora, going to all the places that matter. Nevada, obviously huge, but even go to Colorado, you know. Colorado, unfortunately, because all the legal drug use has turned blue. But I think even Colorado, places like that, have an opportunity to flip because of all these illegal immigration issues, inviting illegals in. And I will answer your question, though, Damon. The Democrats have a problem with the death penalty for murderers. They've been fighting it forever. They want to protect criminals. They want to protect pedophiles. They want to protect the people that victimize you and your family. And they think it's inhumane to have the death penalty for these people. Well, they go out there and murder American citizens. It's absolutely disgusting. So if you are against that, if you're against them, then you have to support President Trump.
Well, you're absolutely right, and that's a good clarification. I should have clarified. I guess I was speaking within our own party, on our side, on the party of common sense, as President Trump would say. But you're absolutely right. So,
yes.
So let's speak in generalities here, Ben. I try not to drink our own Kool-Aid, obviously, as I'm sure you do as well. We look at the polls, but we take it all with a grain of salt. But I've been saying now for a couple days, and Delgado's been saying it too, we've all in pretty much agreement. It would be hard to imagine a worse 2 weeks for a candidate as Kamala Harris has had, and a better 2 weeks from Butler to Elon Musk to the Detroit Economic Club speech this week to today in Colorado to some of the other interviews the president's done. It's hard to imagine a worse 2 weeks for a candidate than she's had, and I feel like you can feel the momentum. John Solomon had a big piece this morning about state polling as opposed to the national polling, which kind of still shows maybe she has a 2-point lead on the national popular vote. But there's some real questions about the distinction between the national and what's going on in the states, the swing states. He's showing strength in all of them. And again, I'm trying not to get ahead of myself, but man, I feel like this thing is there for the taking for him. I feel like all the momentum's behind him. I feel like he's peaking right now as early voting is starting in a lot of places. Give me your thoughts from what you hear from people on the ground. Do you sense it when you're in the room in these places? Tell me what you think.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I go all over the country. We're doing rallies all over the country. Obviously, the work we've done on the border. By the way, we do have a new episode of Law and Border, episode 28 from season 4, coming out very soon. You guys, it's going to be shocking. I mean, the stuff we have is incredible. And then we're doing a best of the 4 years of treason of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. And everywhere I go, I ask the question, tell me your top issues. And it doesn't matter if it's Butler, Pennsylvania, or out here in Reno, Nevada. The top 2 issues are border and economy. And Kamala Harris is the reason, and Joe Biden are the reason both of those things suck in America right now. And the people get it. The only thing Kamala Harris and Walz have going for them is a lapdog propaganda media, and the fact that you still have illegal immigration, illegal voting, you have vote by mail, massive vote by mail, you have these ballot harvesting machines, Democrat ballot harvesting machines in all of these swing states. I'm a pessimist when it comes to that. When it comes to the election fraud, I think they're going to do more election fraud than we've ever seen before, in particular with mail-in ballots, with ballot harvesting. But I am extremely optimistic that if we have a fair election, or even if it's close, Trump crushes it. And right now, if the election were held right now, President Trump wins in a landslide. Electoral college, as far as the electoral college goes. Whether or not he wins the popular vote, that's still a long shot in America, but I think that's possible as well. And I'll just tell you, it's because of those issues. People get it. The economy sucks. Yeah, they may tell you inflation is not as bad as you think it is. They may say jobs are better than you think they are. But when you go to the grocery store and it costs you $300 to fill up your cart, when it cost you $150 when President Trump was in office, you feel that. When you go to the gas pump and it costs you twice as much, $80 to fill up your tank, when it costs you $40 under President Trump, you remember that. And when you see illegal aliens coming into every single community in America, whether that's Aurora, Colorado, or Springfield, Ohio, or Lockland, Ohio, or New York, or Chicago, or wherever you're at, Bozeman, Montana, you see it. And no matter what the mainstream media is telling you, the American people aren't buying it anymore. And just to, full circle wrap it up, I am seeing that. No question about it. President Trump has had an incredible last few weeks. Butler was incredible. Best rally I've ever been to. And Kamala Harris is just dismal. She hit her peak at the DNC, and she has done nothing but fall down that hill ever since.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, but I'll tell you where I agree, but also, and I don't want to say disagree, but I'm not worried, is when you say that if the election were held today. I don't think it matters. I don't think she can do anything from today till election day but continue to bleed support, because they've boxed themselves in with her. She either does no interviews and then they say, well, where is she? She does interviews, they're all a disaster. She goes no place but friendly. I don't think she can do anything. She's like hanging on a wire, and each finger keeps slipping every day, and she's down to like her last 2 fingers. And I don't see her doing anything but continuing to bleed support from now to Election Day. I see no reason the president shouldn't continue to pick up steam, especially with the events that are happening. You look at the way DeSantis is managed. I mean, Republicans just look like, you know what? If you're an independent voter and you're in a swing state or you're in the Rust Belt, you're thinking yourself, you know what? These guys are the only chance we have to get this country together. This guy is the only chance we have to get back to how we were living between 16 and 20. The last 3.5 years have been a disaster. She is not a serious person. She is not smart enough to be in this. She cannot answer questions. I think the picture is clear, and I think it just gets clearer for the next 26 days. So I don't have that same fear that you have about the election held today, because they banked on this compressed window to get her across the finish line. And what they're finding out is it wasn't compressed enough. There's still too many days for her to expose herself, which is what's happening. And she's got 26 more to go.
Yeah, the one thing I would add to that is I was in the hearings. I was in both impeachment hearings with President Trump. I was in the House and the Senate when they wrapped those up in its first term. And I walked out of those hearings thinking, wow, they tried on all of this. They couldn't get him. It's all a fraud. America sees it for what it is. What could they possibly do next? And I had no clue they would unleash COVID on the world, that they would weaponize, China would weaponize this mass murder across the world, and Democrats would use that to do mass vote by mail and steal the election. So the only side of me that I still go back to that hesitantly optimistic is I just don't put anything past these demons. They are so evil. They will murder people to get their way. But I totally agree with you. I don't see any way outside of something like that, some sort of major disaster, man-made disaster, some sort of attack, something where they can take over the martial law, something crazy. I don't see any way she does. And think about what she's even running on. It's all about murdering babies, and President Trump was an insurrectionist. Well, guess what, guys? He left office. All of these things they're talking about, it's like, oh, if he comes back, he'll never leave. And I think the American people are looking at this like, well, he did leave. Now, obviously, he left in protest because the majority of MAGA, and I think sensible people realize that that election was stolen, or if they don't believe it was entirely stolen, they believe there was a lot of fraud in it. I think the American people see through that now. I think in some ways, having Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in there for the last 4 years has been a blessing in disguise. I mean, outside of them destroying our economy and destroying our borders, and we're going to be paying for this, and the lives that have been lost, it has woken so many people up where you can't say, oh yeah, but Trump was this, we're going to do this. Kamala, that whole like, I'm going to do it when I get into office, you've been there for 4 years. Anybody with a brain sees that. That's not selling anymore. So I agree with you, Damon. I don't see anything that she has to be able to offer to the American voter between now and then. I don't put anything past these demons. That's all I'm saying.
No, you know what? Totally with you there, Ben. Especially when you're talking about, some type of black swan event that you kind of described there, where it'll come out of nowhere, and all of a sudden, maybe we don't have an election all of a sudden, and they have to swear her in as president. Joe Biden, something happens to him where he's incapacitated, or he has to hand over power, something like that. We just don't know. We don't know. I guess we got a kind of a glimpse as to the kind of tyrant she would be. When you see some of those clips of her from the past going after, we'll come into your house and check on your guns kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But you also mentioned about, running on in this abortion. Abortion doesn't fill your gas tank. It doesn't pay your mortgage, doesn't pay your rent, doesn't pay your gas, doesn't pay your heating.
Right.
It doesn't do anything. So to run on that is kind of a stupid thing, especially when you see that the inflation numbers came out today, Damon, and they're up.
Well, PPI came out today. CPI came out yesterday. They were a little hot, but again, the CPI is this basket of nonsense. So you kind of have to understand what factors into CPI. Owner's equivalent rent finally rolled over, so there was some things that kept it hot. But I didn't really have too much of a problem with the CPI report. If you're being honest about it, you got to look at what actually makes up CPI. But go ahead, Rick.
But tell that to the American people who still see.
I agree. They're not feeling it. They don't live by month to month and year to year and all this other crap. They live day to day, going to the I totally agree.
Yeah. So you've got that kind of that train just barreling on people every single day, and what do they see? They see somebody lying to their face, right? Saying, "I'm going to do this when I get in." You're already in there. You can't kind of play that game the way she's trying to play that game. And, again, between now and Election Day, it's going to be fun to watch her implode. But you also, like you said, you got to kind of keep your head on a swivel like, what do they got planned? What don't we see coming?
Ben, do you believe in an October or November surprise, or at this point do you think like what the hell else could happen at this point? 2 assassination attempts. What else could happen?
Well, look, you look at North Carolina. I mean, I'm still concerned that there are going to be many parts of rural North Carolina, Tennessee that have a tough time voting. When I was flying back through Charlotte just a couple days ago, there was a guy that had come out from one of the disaster areas who said they're not going to have fresh water for at least 2 months, that the schools are still not sure if they're going to be opening in the next 2 months. And so there's some of these areas that are really wild cards, and how that plays into it. But again, I will be shocked. I will be absolutely shocked if George Soros or Alex Soros or Uma Abedin or any of these people that are actually pulling the strings, Barack Obama and the people that are pulling his strings, don't have something else planned between now and the election. I will be shocked. It basically means they're throwing in the towel, or like in 2020, they just assume they have the fraud, enough fraud in place to take it from the American people. I don't think they're going to be able to do that this time. I don't think there's enough fraud out there. And as a guy who used to live in California before I escaped and moved back to America, aka Arkansas, I lived through Kamala Harris. She was the Attorney General. She was the mayor of San Francisco. She was a dismal, pathetic, worthless politician that everyone understood the only reason why she was there. And I'm not going to say it on friendly TV. She is a disaster. She was a terrible candidate when she ran for president in 2020, and she is a terrible candidate running now. The only thing she has going for her is she has a mainstream media that will do her, will tread the water for her. And now you have all the Democrats and the string pullers of the Democrat Party that are pulling the strings to try to make it look like she's something that she's not. But I will be shocked. Again, I don't see any way they win this if they don't do something crazy between now and Election Day. I pray that's not the case. I pray what the enemy means for evil, God uses for good. And I'm optimistic. I really do believe we're taking this country back in November. I'm just waiting to see. I mean, this is, it's like we've seen. They tried 2 impeachments against President Trump. That didn't work. They tried 4 indictments against President Trump. That hasn't worked. They convicted him. That hasn't worked. If anything, he has gotten more support. The guy driving me from the airport to the hotel last night, a felon, who said he's voting for President Trump because President Trump understands him. They're doing the same thing to President Trump that they did to him. So all of these things lining up, everything they can possibly do, they've tried to do it. I'm just waiting. We got a month. It's just keep praying and keep fighting. And basically, to everybody that's out there, it is full pedal to the metal from here until then. Everything you got, get everyone. Now you vote. Obviously, take care of yourself first. If you have to vote early, like I have to, because I'm going to be on the road during Election Day, vote early. But then spend the rest of your time getting all of your friends and neighbors and anybody else that that's pissed off the direction of our country, that in particular hasn't voted, that's given up on voting. We have to get as many people from now until then. Everybody has to get involved with this. And if we do that, I don't think it matters what the Democrats do. We win it in November.
I agree with you, Ben. As far as I understand your concern still about obviously election fraud and election day and ballots and all of that, and obviously that's very important. The one thing I'll say, though, is I don't know that anybody, unless you're really plugged in. Now, I listened to Michael Whatley yesterday talking to John Solomon on his podcast, and Michael Whatley rightly says, I don't think people understand how much there has been legally done in some of these states with state legislatures and lawsuits and things to protect against what we saw in 2020, some of the movement we've had, some of the gains we've made, and especially the gains we're seeing in early Republican voting, places like Virginia, where ballots are coming in at rates from red areas and Republicans that we have never seen before. So I listened to him, and I'm with you. I'm totally with you. But boy, I just, maybe we're in for a surprise that the RNC and some of these things have gotten further along fighting against Mark Elias and the Democrat thugs who went into all these places in 2020 and changed election laws. Maybe we're a better position than we think to handle Election Day and the counting of these ballots. And maybe some of these numbers will be more than swamp the vote, make it too big to rig. Maybe we'll get some of that.
Yeah. I think you're right. I mean, there's more eyes on it. If nothing else, we've got attorneys all across the country now. It was a little disappointing last week when we found out we had no Republican attorneys in Arizona, when they found out there were 200,000 ballots that hadn't been verified, that the people that brought them in were actually U.S. citizens. That's probably one of my top concerns right now. When you look at illegal aliens across this country, how many of them are actually going to be registered to vote? How many of them will actually cast a ballot? And how many of those ballots will be counted and tossed in? This was the biggest concern that I saw in 2020 and 2022. Outside of 2022 in Arizona, when they shut the machines down, I was standing there at the ballot. We went to 10 different polling locations that were shut down. The printers stopped working. I was out there with Carrie Lake. And it was so clearly election fraud, election meddling. And that's obviously why they've shifted the tactics, the strategy this year to more early voting for Republicans. But it was so clear that happened and nothing was done about it. And then when you look at the vote by mail, as soon as you separate those ballots, the envelope with the signature from the actual ballot, there is no way of reconnecting those ballots, as far as I know, in any state right now. And that's the big concern. If we're not doing, when you go from a 3% rejection rate of vote by mail to all of these states, all these swing states going to under 1% rejection rate, some of them under 0.1% rejection rate, that's still concerning to me. But you're right. Chairman Whatley has said that. I was in Wisconsin, chairman up there. He said the same thing. They're doing more than ever before. They're optimistic about it, and I hope to be as well. I just think everybody needs to go with the mindset. It's like, in football, you have to play till that last whistle in the fourth quarter or through overtime. You have to play like you're down You cannot do prevent defense. You have to play like you're losing until you win, until you crush them, until it's too big to rig, and then I'll breathe a sigh of relief. But after sitting through, I was in Arizona in 2020, I was in Arizona in 2022, and what I've witnessed them get away with on the Democrat side, and even on the Rhino Republican side, you look at Arizona with this, cartel attorneys general, Fontes in there now, you've got Katie Hobbs in there, you got people in places in some of these states that I am very, very concerned about. So I'm optimistic.
Yeah.
But we got to fight like we're down 10 points, and we're got to fight through the finish line.
Yep.
If we do that, I think we crush it.
All right, Ben Bergquam, we'll give you a break. I'm sure you're sick of talking to us at this point. He's like, give me a break here, Damon, with the questions. So, Ben, we'll let Ben take a break.
I love you guys.
We'll get back to Ben on the ground there in Reno. President Trump, we're getting ready for him to take the stage there for the second time today. He was on the stage in Colorado. Great speech in Colorado. He'll take the stage there in Reno. But this gives me a chance to talk about one of our great sponsors here tonight, and that, of course, is Patriot Mobile. We're in a pivotal election year. 2024 is a battle for the soul of America. And if you're fed up with compromise, it's time to switch to Patriot Mobile. And, of course, they're America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. With Patriot Mobile, you'll get the same nationwide coverage as the major carriers without funding the left. Every call you make supports conservative causes and puts America first. Switching is easy with their 100% U.S.-based customer service team. Keep your number, keep your phone, or you can upgrade. They'll help you find the perfect plan for you. Go to patriotmobile.com/SaveUSA, patriotmobile.com/SaveUSA, or call 972-PATRIOT. 972-PATRIOT. Now get a free month when you use the offer code SaveUSA. That's patriotmobile.com/SaveUSA, or call 972-PATRIOT. Patriot Mobile, one of our great sponsors tonight, and we appreciate their support, of course, along with our friends from Birch Gold, TrumpTumbler.com, The Wellness Company, and AMAC. All great sponsors tonight that we appreciate joining Rav in this pre-rally coverage of Trump in Reno, Nevada. And again, the president got done in Colorado around 5 Eastern time, so to make the trip, we expect him somewhere in this 8:30 to 9:30 range. The president will take the stage. Good stuff with Ben, right? I mean,
love it. It's the Ben Bergquam. You can't beat him. He's probably one of the best rap personalities out there. Just hitting the pavement every single day.
Yeah.
Putting his life on the line in some instances when he goes down to the border.
That's not an exaggeration at all. It makes me nervous sometimes. He's got a. I don't know. He takes too many chances, I think.
Yeah, and you
watch Law and Order, you think, Ben.
Yeah. And he brought out a good point. And it's something I think we've talked about, maybe not to this extent, that maybe it was a good thing that they stole the election back in 2020.
Well, let me tell you something. I didn't get a chance to do it last night. I did it on my morning stream 2 days ago. If you want to read an article that is entitled, what is it entitled? It's entitled, so I get it right, The 2020 Theft Saved This Country.
Wow.
It's written by John Conlon. And it's in the American Thinker 2 days ago. I talked about it on my morning show. That morning it came out because I read it and I was like, man, I think this is just spot on. And that's basically what he talks about. He talks about, sometimes you go through life and you think like a win in life turns out to be a loss. And what's as a loss seems to turn out to be a win. And he says, basically, let's first state the obvious here. And the obvious is that, of course, Trump won in 2020. The statistics are overwhelming. The left will try to use statistics when it comes to everything else. If they want to prove racial discrimination or any other sort of situation, they'll say, the statistics. But when it comes to that, they throw the statistics. They don't want to talk about the statistics, even though overwhelmingly the statistical evidence shows that Trump won. And he says, basically, combine this with a truckload of the obvious and the unexplainable, the shenanigans across many states, it's clear that the rightful winner in 2020 was Trump. Now, having said that, he basically in this article goes through all the stuff that's been exposed in the last 4 years. Everything that's happened that would not have happened, that we wouldn't have seen, that wouldn't have been exposed. All of the actions that were the catalyst was what happened in 2020. He says we will look back on this period and say, thank God, because now we know about the blatant politicization of the DOJ, the CIA, the IRS, the military, the judiciary. Almost every aspect of the federal government has been exposed, and we've seen what they've done in charge because of that.
Yeah, and that's where I was going, because you can tell people until you're blue in the face, this is what's best for you. This is what's happening. There are aliens. There is Bigfoot. They can control the weather. But until they actually see it for themselves, and, when you're talking about the federal government, most people are of the opinion, well, they're not evil. They're just, they just don't know what they're doing sometimes. And they give them a pass. That's why you get the same people voted in over and over again. Oh, well, he means to do good, and he's just trying. But now that you get to see it, because you can say it again till you're blue in the face, until you actually see it, that's when that red pill starts to kick in, and people go, oh. Yeah. And then there's a theory that Trump actually allowed the steal to happen because he knew he couldn't convince you with his words that you had to see it for yourself to do anything about it.
Whose theory is that?
That's actually a theory that's out there, believe it or not. Several places. Not only in my own head.
Is he aware of that theory?
Me?
No, Trump.
He could be.
Okay.
He may have allowed, because remember, I distinctly remember that he said we know everything that they did, but they didn't do anything about it. Why didn't they do anything about it? Why did they allow it to if as he said, they had a war room set up, they could see what was going on, and they knew the numbers and everything that was coming in, but he still allowed it to proceed. Why? It's a good question. Why? If they were in tune and were able to pull apart and see what was going on, why did they allow it to go forward? Maybe because they knew, I can tell them all as much as I want. The deep state media is going to say I'm a nutball. Nobody's going to believe it. You're going to have half the country not believe anything. And then the only way to do it is to let them believe it. You wouldn't believe you could see a bulldog ride a skateboard until you see the bulldog ride the skateboard. And believe me, I've seen a lot of bulldogs ride skateboards. I was like, this is crazy. I've never seen that before. Okay, you got to see it for yourself. What?
I will take a break. Come back. Top of the hour. Okay. Hour 2 coming up as we wait for President Trump in Reno. We're back right after this.
What? Is it that crazy to think?
Yes.
Why?
Because most of the fraud happened before Election Day.
No, it didn't. Most of the fraud happened on election.
No.
When you shut down voting and machine, that's what we're talking about. I mean, you can change laws all you want, but if you don't actually utilize it once you've positioned yourself, then who cares?
No, that's not true, because votes that would not have been accepted as votes in all of the major states just 3 months before Election Day were all of a sudden accepted. That's the fraud.
Stream? Are we live streaming?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
But everybody knows it's Pizza Friday.
Yeah.
Wheezy Cat in Rumble says, poor gnome, he has no clue.
No.
We thought he got he got red pilled last night, but I guess not.
Okay.
That was in the Rumble chat.
They were talking about you
Wheezy
on
Cat.
his live stream this morning.
Oh.
Damon. He was
talking about who?
He was having confessions about his love for you, and we just bust their shoes. Behind the scenes we get along.
Yeah, people actually.
They actually think that we go at it.
No.
Damon was saying that somebody said that you were he was treating you like a heavy bag.
Yeah.
He got an email the other night.
That he was treating me, or I was treating him?
You like a heavy bag. He looks like a heavy bag.
I was going to say. The only thing missing is the thing on his head to hold him up.
Yeah.
I almost said 9 o'clock. 8 o'clock. Hour 2, but it's only 8 o'clock. We started at 7 with pre-rally coverage. President Trump live in Reno, Nevada. And we're excited. Should be a good night. President's second stop of the day was in Aurora, Colorado earlier today. Great speech out there. Tough speech out there. Tough speech. Only the president could give on immigration, crime, law and order. Getting this country, giving it back to law enforcement to do their thing. What they can do on the federal level. Tom Homan. A lot of good stuff from the president on that. And I expect him to echo some of that in Reno tonight as he takes the stage. I'm sure he's going to talk about all the normal things he talks about. Slick, let me welcome you to the coverage. How are you?
Doing good, Big D. How you doing?
Very good. You're looking, slick, as always.
I'm trying to eat my pizza, sorry.
Pizza Friday here on what would be a regular 6B Friday night, but we're doing rally coverage.
Yep.
Rick Delgado's here. Aaron and Fran holding it down. Parker and everybody over at Real America's Voice in the background helping us all out. We appreciate everybody's help. And, of course, most of all, we appreciate all the fantastic sponsors that have joined us tonight for pre-rally coverage. TrumpTumbler.com. Man, that Tumblr is good looking, boy. Yeah, and the guaranteed is that they give you TrumpTumbler.com. Our friends over at Birch Gold, of course, you can contact them, see if Birch Gold is right for you. Patriot Mobile, as they said, every call you make, you know you're supporting the country and not funding the left, so it doesn't get any better than that. Of course, the Wellness Company and our friends over at AMAC, we know the great work they do. So all great companies, great people to work with. And we appreciate all of them joining us tonight for pre-rally coverage of Trump rally in Reno. The great Ben Bergquam is on the ground. We were talking to Ben. We'll talk to him again before President Trump takes the stage. He's supposed to start at 8:30. Can't imagine that's going to happen, given that the president didn't get done in Colorado till about 5 after 5. So by the time he makes it over there, but we'll see. It could be in that 8:30 to 9:30 range. So we'll do some news. We'll do a little sports here while we have some time as well. What are you looking at? Something in the chat?
Yes, I'm looking at Razu76 in the Rumble chat says, Damon, you got 8 reads tonight. I love how people are kind of clued in to now the things that
this audience is very smart.
Oh, they are.
And very funny. So I want to just get back because I think that's you bring up such it's so interesting that you said that because obviously you don't watch what I do in the morning, but I just brought this article up about how we'll look back on 2020. I think it's so important. We'll look back on 2020. So I just want to highlight some of the other things he talked about in this and the points he makes because I think they're all good. When he talks about how we'll look back and think that maybe that was actually a blessing in disguise. And he talks about, obviously, the politicization. He says, for many of these folks, the concept of equal justice under the law is something they discarded long ago. We all now see it. Many states are as bad or worse. Think about DEI. For years, DEI has been destroying institutions and companies across the board. Now that's ending. You can see the momentum for ending it. Institutions of supposed higher education have revealed themselves to be little more than dumbing down indoctrination centers. Much of the K-12 public education has been shown to be the same. School choice movement is now unstoppable. I used to think the Great Replacement theory was a crazy idea, but now we've all seen it in action. What other reason could there be for inviting tens of millions of people of the world's illiterate poor to cross our non-existent border to come feast on our social safety nets paid for by you and me? It's clear that American citizens are second-class entities in their own country in the eyes of the Democrat Party. Illegals come before them at every turn. This is now undeniable after the last 4 years. The stolen election and its aftermath helped show all of this to millions of us. The same is true throughout Europe. We would have never gotten here without the stolen election. These institutions were this way before. but this period has removed all doubt. And before one can begin to address an illness, one must first accept the reality of the disease. We have now done that in the last 4 years. The path forward won't be a straight one. It'll probably involve a lot of 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But in my estimation, we have now bottomed out. The future might look far different than today, but history will show that this was a high watermark for socialism, communism, big government, gender insanity, and a whole lot more. And we owe this awakening to the quote-unquote loss of a stolen election, which is turning out to be a wondrous win. This is maybe the most important part. Compare what would have been a second term for Trump 45 versus Trump, the 47th president of the United States. If he had been acknowledged as the winner in 2020, his administration would have continued to be hamstrung by the various pukes, rhinos, uniparty members, and just those intent on pure sabotage who populated his administration from the VP on down. This will not be the case now with Trump 47. These folks are long gone, and this time they're not going to be invited back. Trump and his cohorts are far sharper, far more prepared, far more intellectually ready. Vance versus Pence, not even a contest. And it'll be the same across his administration. Look at the new coalitions being formed this very moment. Minorities and working class embracing Trump like never before. Those who were once enemies have joined hands because their eyes have been opened by the results of a stolen election. It is truly a glorious thing. 47 will be orders of magnitude more impactful and successful than a second term 45 would have ever been here and across the globe. Second term 45 would have been successful, but 47 will be that on jet fuel. The impact Trump and his administration will exceed any administration before him. This is one of the reasons that they want to kill him. And Trump isn't the end. He's just the beginning. This is a generational transformation that is just starting that will become unstoppable. So thanks for a stolen election. Whether it's what goes around comes around or FAFO, this administration and its stolen election have sealed their fate, and it is not a pretty one. Sometimes what seems to be a loss turns out to be a win. Thank you, God.
Yeah. The only part you left out was where he wrote that Trump let the steal happen.
Yeah, he didn't write that.
I know.
Yeah.
You wrote that.
That was in my.
That's the appendix that you'll write.
That's in my head.
Okay. Good.
Well, it makes sense. Again, people can't understand it if you just tell them because they've got their confirmation bias. Oh, the government would never do something like that. It's not that evil. People aren't that crazy. People aren't that selfish. People aren't this. People aren't that. That's how you get Chuck Schumer and Joe Biden in the Senate for 85 years each because they convince you that, no, I'm working for you. It's just very tough to maneuver and we've got to, we'll do the hard work and blah, blah, blah. And then you get towards the end of your life and then you realize that they've been blowing smoke up your ass this whole time and they never would have done anything for you. But meanwhile, they've got 5 houses. Their kids all go to Ivy League schools. They got money coming in from everywhere. They got book signings where nobody shows up to buy the book, but they get paid millions for it. And we're supposed to believe that these people work for us? No. I think you need to see something like this. And again, maybe I'm out on a limb. Maybe I'm a little,
ready a tree. It's more like it.
maybe I'm a little far, before my skis here. But maybe it was necessary to see everything just crumble in front of their face and go, whoa, these people are wrong. And the more and more you see, and I'm talking about stuff that I'm seeing on X. There was this black activist, and I sent the clip in a couple days ago. I don't even know if we still have it. But even he was like, look, he goes, I'm not a fan of Trump, but he's like, that election was stolen. Excuse me? Cut 10? Yeah, let's play it. It's only about a minute long. I forget the guy's name, but check this out.
The problem is Donald Trump is so popular. See, Donald Trump is a nationalist, Art. They don't want a nationalist. They don't want someone who's looking out for the best interests of America. They want someone who's looking out for the best interests of the global elites. And that is the Democrats. The question is, are they willing to cheat Trump out of the election and risk a full-scale revolt by poor white America? That's the question. That is the question. Are we willing to risk a social catastrophe if Donald Trump is cheated out of the election? In my opinion, Art, I believe he's the front runner. Even though they're reporting that Kamala has a slight edge, I'm not buying it. I believe Donald Trump is the front runner. And I believe he won the last election. I believe he beat Joe Biden, but got cheated. And it don't make a difference to me who wins because none of them care about black folks. I want to be clear about that. But I believe he beat Joe Biden. If he gets cheated again, I don't think white America takes this laying down. I cannot see white America taking this laying down if he gets cheated again. The question is, are they willing to risk a civil war, a potential civil war in this country if he's cheated again? That's the question.
Yeah. And again, these people are no fans of Trump, but they see what's been exposed. I guess that's the point I'm trying to make, that once you see it, you can't unsee it. And I think that's been the greatest benefit of, the last, if there's one benefit, that's it in the last 3.5 years.
I agree that what has been exposed has been important. I think the most important part of that article is what he says about 47 compared to a second 45, and the impact that'll have. And what's the thing I've complained about most about 45 was the personnel.
I was gonna say that's been your biggest complaint.
It's absolutely been my biggest complaint, bar none, consistently for all these years. Has been the people. How do you have somebody working for you who ended up on The View? How do you have somebody working for you that ended up on CNN? How do you have somebody working for you that's testifying at the J6 committee? Who decided these people in the first place? So that's been my complaint all along. And he makes the point, we're not going in with those people for 47. We're going in with Kash Patel. We're going in with Brett Tolman. We're going in with Ramaswamy. Yeah. We're going in with
J.D. Vance.
Maybe the governor of Florida. We're going in with the heavy hitters. Nice. We know where all the bodies lie. We know where all the scum are. And we're going in knowing that this is it. All right, let's take a break. We'll get back with Ben Berkholm on the ground in Reno, Nevada. Trump rally coverage. We're waiting on the president to take the stage. We're back live from Studio 6B right after this. Sergeant Arby says, super chat, Big D. I didn't see it. Did you see it?
No.
Yeah, does Ben want to come back?
I'm going to get a shot.
Let me go to YouTube and see who the super chat was. I'll bet I know. But let me double check. Come on with this thing.
Got to go through this and that.
$50 super chat, Child of the King. Thank you very much. Is this the place to order a pizza?
Yes.
I'd like to order a pie, half gnome sprinkles and half extra dazzle shoes. That's a good one right there. That's a good one. Wow. Do you have dazzle shoes on, Slick?
I have cool shoes on tonight.
Well, you always have cool shoes. It's just a level of cool.
Yeah, well, they're not crazy, but they're pretty cool.
Hello, Susan on YouTube. How are you? Denise on Facebook says, I love this show. You opened my eyes to what's really going on. Thank you very much. Tommy Viper, what's going on?
Oh, Tommy Viper.
Going to rally in Coachella tomorrow. We'll shout out to 6B on RAV. Thank you. Where was that article from, Damon? That article was from the American Thinker, where you should stop every day. Because of the 10 or 12 things they put out every day, 11 of them are fantastic. Sometimes all 12. Drag Blacker, how are you? Welcome on in. Seen some familiar names that I've seen all day long. Streamed a couple times today. Okay. All right, 15 past the hour, live from Studio 6B on a Friday night, Pizza Friday on live from Studio 6B. But tonight we're doing Trump rally coverage. And we appreciate all the great people involved with bringing you this pre-rally coverage on Real America's Voice. Of course, Slick's here. Rick Delgado's here. Aaron and Fran holding it down as always. Parker and all the people at Real America's Voice always doing a great job. And, of course, our great sponsors for the night. TrumpTumbler.com, Birch Gold, Patriot Mobile, the Wellness Company. I'll talk to you about them here in a second. And, of course, the great people over at AMAC. We appreciate all of them. Check them all out, of course. And we just can't tell them how much we appreciate them being involved with our Trump rally coverage here heading into Reno, Nevada. Ben Berquam's on the ground in Reno. Let's bring him back in. Ben, and I don't know if you just heard the conversation we were just having, but there was a great article in the American Thinker 2 days ago about how the stolen election of 2020 will look back on in history and think it was maybe the most important thing that ever happened to us. And I won't go through the whole thing again, but the point being, all of the things that have been exposed from the politicization of all the three-letter alphabet gangs, DEI, all the things that have been exposed over the last 4 years. But maybe the most important point I think the author brings up is that a second Trump 45 would have been okay, but it will be nothing like a Trump 47 will be, having given this 4 years in between for people to be like, oh my God, what has happened to the country so fast? Give me your thoughts on that. Do you buy into that theory that 47 will be what a 45 second would have been just on jet fuel?
Absolutely, no doubt about it. I mean, again, there's so much of the swamp we didn't even realize was swamp. There's so many people that are out of office now on the Rhino side, the Kinzingers, the Liz Cheneys that were in there that were all they were doing was basically putting up roadblocks for President Trump, no doubt about it. And I think part of, really looking at that, I hadn't even thought about that part of it as much as just the weaponization of the injustice system, what they've done to President Trump, how much of that has been exposed, how much of the election fraud has been exposed. But I think just that point, and I was listening to you the whole time, did a great job at reading the article. It was great. The most important part about that is President Trump can do very little. President Trump can do very little.
Did he just call
unless he has a House and a Senate that backs.
Did he just say that was
no, it was phenomenal. You should be a narrator. You should read articles for a living. That's what I'm saying. It was so good.
Yeah.
But the whole point was
Kindle.
The whole point was the whole. the put you to bed stuff. No, I'm just kidding. No, the whole point was President Trump, basically he did everything that he did through executive order because he had the Paul Ryans out there and all these guys working against him. Now, I don't know if we have that interview. I did an interview with Burgess Owens, congressman from Utah, and he hit that exact point. Now we have MAGA. We have the opportunity to not just get President Trump in there, which we have to do. We have to get President Trump in there. But we have to, secondarily to that, is down ballot, get the MAGA Republicans in the House and the Senate. If we do that, President Trump's second term will be so much more powerful than had he actually not had it stolen in 2020. I agree 100% with that. Now, before I say anything else, before I forget, I have to give a huge shout out. He's watching out there right now. My nephew, Hunter Wade, turned 18 today. He's in California. Huge MAGA. He actually wants to come on the road. I'm going to try to bring him to one of these rallies with me. My sister Alicia, everybody out there in California watching. Even California, guys, don't give up hope. There is MAGA all over the place. Shout out to Hunter. You're a great young man. I know you just turned 18. You're way better than I was when I was 18. I love you, Hunt, man. So anyway, shout out to Hunter. But back to your point, there's no question about it, Damon. President Trump's second term, assuming we get across that finish line and assuming we get MAGA in the House and the Senate, will be a change election that could actually save this country. I don't think we could have said that had he actually just won it in 2020 and not had it stolen. I think we would have had 4 years of gridlock, roadblocks, more indictments. We would have had all this garbage, more impeachment, and we wouldn't have had the same opportunity that we have today.
I want to also second your happy birthday to your nephew, Hunter. Yeah. And Hunter, I want to just say your uncle thinks I'm boring. I hope you do not think I'm boring. And I will send you a link to that article, Hunter, if you want to read it. So.
You're not boring. Damon, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Hey, don't tell anyone. Studio 6B. Studio 6B. Guys, don't tell me. Studio 6B, outside of Law and Border, is my favorite show. So don't tell any of the other shows that. Right. But I love you guys.
Yeah. You know what Damon's going to do? He's also going to buy a very, heavily written birthday card, and he's going to read it to your nephew.
Yeah. So good at reading. So
he's going. Yes.
Well, Ben,
hey, I'll give you his phone number. You can put him to bed tonight.
Ben referenced. Ben does. Let's face
a little
it.
Creepy.
Ben does great. Men on the streets. He's out there talking to real American voices, as he does all the time. And he mentioned that he sat down with Burgess Owens. So, Aaron, if we have that, we don't have that. We have McDonald.
We have Chairman McDonald.
Okay. All right. Here we have Ben Bergquam with Chairman of the Republican Party in Nevada. Chairman McDonald. Let's see what he said. Roll it.
Chairman McDonald, Nevada. Everything. You look at the swing states. We saw what happened in 2020. Big concern a lot of people have, election fraud, in particular now with illegal aliens. What are you guys doing at the Republican Party, in particular here in Nevada, to stop that and protect the vote this year?
Well, we've been great. We have a great team of attorneys led by Brian Hardy and Sigal Chadha, our National Committee woman. A lot of them are coming in from the RNC as well. Instead of having 5 or 10, we have hundreds that are coming in now. We're going to watch it. We've been working with the Secretary of State. He's a Democrat, but he's been working great with us. Always answers the phone call. But also we were able to purge so many people off that are not voters. We purged them off our rolls, and we've been nailed a gap between Democrats and Republicans. But the main thing right now is to make sure that we have anybody who's illegal that's voting, anybody who shouldn't have a ballot has a ballot, to make sure they get prosecuted. And we're calling our Attorney General to do that, and our law enforcement, our sheriffs to do that. So we have to be able to be civil, call it out when we see it, and make sure that everybody has an opportunity to vote that can vote.
This is the final battle. Outside of that, if you just look at, assuming we have a fair election, what are you seeing across the state? Is it the same thing I'm seeing across the country, momentum for President Trump through the roof and flat on the Democrat side, or what are you seeing here?
Absolutely. When we came out in Sunset Park with no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, those originated here in Nevada, something the President and I have been working on for a while. But more importantly, it was about the working men and women. His movement makes that. He doesn't say something he's lying about. Kamala does. She says no tax on tips. She cast a deciding vote to make sure they put more IRS agents to get the people that get tips, put more taxes on it. And she said it in her statement why she voted that way. She wanted to put more IRS agents to get the people who get tips that aren't paying their fair share. Look it up. The other part is this. When you see what the movement he has been bringing, everything he's done, he's talked about. He's taken care of the mining industry, the labor movement.
All right, Stephen Miller
25
takes
days,
the stage,
the great people of this state
which means
are going to send
close.
Donald J. Trump back to the White House. Inflation will end. Our jobs will come back. Our economy will soar. Your wages will go up. Your communities will be safe. The wars will end. Peace will return. We'll get the woke out of the military. We will get the radical left indoctrination out of our schools, and we will seal the border shut. On November 5th, you will send Donald Trump back to the Oval Office to liberate the United States of America. The occupation of our cities by migrant gangs will be over, and Americans will be in charge of their own country once again. No mother or father will have to fear for the safety of their children. No husband will have to fear for the safety of their wife, and no woman in this country will have to be terrorized by migrant gangs and murderers and rapists and killers. Because this country belongs to the citizens of the United States of America. Now, Donald Trump, for 8 years, has endured so much for all of us. Since the day he came down that escalator, it was one attack, one hoax, one slander, one defamation, one false accusation, one witch hunt, one persecution, one episode of lawfare after another, and then not one but 2 assassination attempts on his life. But Donald Trump is still standing, and he is standing stronger and more determined than ever. And yes, Donald Trump is running against Kamala Harris. He's running against a weak, radical, incompetent, failed socialist liberal. But Donald Trump is also running against the corrupt system that owns and controls Kamala Harris. This is the corrupt machine that doesn't give a damn about you and never has. This is the corrupt machine that for generations has sucked the wealth and jobs and vitality out of this country. This is the corrupt machine that suppresses your free speech, that crushes your liberty, that tries to violate your rights, that tries to indoctrinate your children, that believes that unelected bureaucrats in the deep state, at DOJ and the Defense Department, know better than the actual citizens of this country. The big donors, the big banks, the big special interests, all of the forces conspiring and colluding to take away your voice, to take away your future, to take away your hopes and your dreams as Americans. Donald Trump is fighting every single one of those forces so that you can have your future back. So ladies and gentlemen, I need you to reach deep. I need you to reach deep into your hearts and your souls and organize for the next 25 days. Mobilize. Get out that vote. Scratch and claw. Go through every contact you have. Do the work. Dedicate yourself and pledge yourself to this simple mission. Deliver the state of Nevada to Donald Trump and deliver Donald Trump back to the White House. Thank you. God bless you. And God bless the United States of America.
All right, there you go, Stephen Miller. Of course, policy advisor to President Trump, part of the first Trump term. Certainly would be a part of the second one.
Sharp.
Yeah.
Sharp guy.
Usually the last speaker that speaks before President Trump takes the stage. So I looks like Mr. 47's in the building.
All right.
Which maybe he'll be a little closer on time than I thought, leaving Colorado when he did. But usually Stephen's kind of the warm-up act before Trump takes the stage, before they start playing that video.
And he fired up the crowd.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, if you want to talk policy, there's nobody better to do it than him.
Fired up.
Nobody better to talk policy than Stephen Miller. That's for sure. So, all right, you're watching pre-rally coverage here as we wait for President Trump to take the stage in Reno after coming off a very strong speech today in Colorado. Wesley Hunt is now coming to the microphone. Let's listen in. Another young, dynamic Republican. Let's listen in here.
The poem Invictus goes, out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloodied but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horrors of the shade. But yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate, nor how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. President Donald Trump is the master of his fate. He is the captain of his soul. And with you, my brave fellow Americans, we will make him our 47th president. I've had the honor and the privilege of traveling with the president today, and I'm here to tell you he wants to fight for you every single step of the way. He wants to fix our border. He wants more money in your pockets. He wants us to be safe again in our country. And it doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter your race, religion, color, or creed. Because the only thing I see in rooms like this across the country are my fellow Americans. I'll be damned if we allow the left and Democrats to divide us along racial lines. You see, I'm a West Point graduate. I'm a helicopter combat pilot. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you something. I know a fighter when I see one. President Trump took a bullet for everybody in this room. And the unbending resolve that he displayed when he stood up and told us all to do what? Fight, fight, fight. We have a fight on our hands, ladies and gentlemen. We have 25 days until we get to dictate the future of this great nation. A nation that people are willing to die for. A nation that people are willing to sacrifice it all for. And what I do know is that the resolve of this movement that I have seen across this country will prevail. We have our fighter. This is our time. And the day is always darkest before the dawn. And I want to end with this. This is a country that's been through so much. This is a country that ripped itself apart in civil war. This is a country that became back-to-back World War champions. You're welcome, world. And yet here we stand. This is a country that went through the civil rights movement, and people like me get to stand before you today as a black man in a white majority district from Texas that President Trump would have won by 30 points. This is a country that endured the Vietnam War. If you're a Vietnam veteran, if you're here right now, please stand to be recognized. Thank you. Thank you. You didn't get your just due. I'm giving it to you now because I came home to your heroes. Welcome. This is a country that went through 9/11. Where 5,000 Americans evaporated just like that. And do you know, for the next week, you couldn't go online and buy an American flag because they were all sold out. Don't forget. And if we as a country can survive all that, with Donald Trump's leadership, I can assure you, we will survive Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and Mr. Walz. We have our leader. We have our fighter. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a country to save. And I am so proud to be surrounded by my fellow patriots to do just that. May God bless you. May God bless Donald Trump. And may God bless the greatest country in the world, these United States of America. Thank you.
Oh, man.
Nice fighter.
Wow. Wesley Hunt.
I want to stand up for the captain.
Man.
Oof.
I thought I closed my eyes. I thought I was listening to old G.E. Patterson back in the day. Oh, the famous, of course, Pentecostal preacher down from Memphis, G.E. Patterson. Man, he used to have that kind of delivery, too. Just get you fired up.
He's good.
Wesley Hunt was doing just that.
Yeah, I thought Stephen Miller was great, and then all of a sudden they wheel out Wesley Hunt. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, man, he was fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic.
And again, back to your point, here's another guy who could be someone that Trump, pulls and says, I need you in this administration. We got work to do.
Well, I mean, he's got so many good. I mean, you think about, again, not to keep harping on this same article, but again, you think about the people now, the alliances, the people who have lived through this 4 years, who have been on TV talking about it for 4 years, the relationships that have been made with the Trump campaign, the surrogates for Trump that have been out there, the legal minds that have connected with Trump through all of this legal lawfare. By the way, if we've got, I think we got about a 10-minute countdown. Hey, Aaron, do you have the clip I put in today? All right, I want to just play a little of this for the audience while we have some time here. If you have not heard what happened in the New York appellate court, speaking of lawfare against President Trump, let me give you a little taste. This is the opening salvo from the government's lawyer. This is how it started. Roll it.
May it please the court, Judith Vale for the New York Attorney General's office. All of the defendants repeatedly violated...
Ms. Vale, can you identify any previous case...
He gave her 4
in which the
seconds.
Attorney General sued under Executive Law 6312 to upset a private business transaction that was between equally sophisticated partners where the supposed victim had the ability and legal obligation to discover the allegedly misrepresented matters by conducting its own due diligence, where the supposed wrongdoer advised the supposed victim through written disclaimers to conduct its own due diligence and to draw its own conclusions, where the alleged misrepresentation almost entirely concerned inherently subjective valuations of properties and businesses.
Yes.
And where the victim never complained about any fraud in the transactional losses from it. Because I've gone through the cases which you've cited, and all of them always involved the consumer protection aspect. It involved protection of the market.
Oh, several responses.
And I want to add to his question, and little to no impact on the public marketplace.
The honest business people who don't do the misconduct and therefore don't get the kind of benefit that they got here.
I suppose you're referring to the fact that Trump received a lower interest rate than he might otherwise have received. But haven't you yourself conceded that the assets were sufficient to get the lower interest rate of the private wealth management direction?
Being inflated. That was also evident from Haig and McCarty testifying about the incredible
Doesn't Mr. Hay
collateral.
Doesn't Mr. Hay testify that there were 14 factors and this was the least important factor?
Single year, and it was using...
Sorry, but what's being described sounds an awful lot like a potential commercial dispute between private actors.
And a professional appraisal firm.
But it wasn't wasn't the concern there that the public would ultimately be negatively impacted and affected by
you just get a little taste of how this went. This went on for hours. They were not listening to anything she had. I think the longest she got to speak in the opening hour was maybe 8 minutes. I mean, they just peppered her with, can you name me one other time this has ever come close to happening? And then they got into the amount that the fine, and they went at it again. Name me one other case ever that this kind of a fine would be levied for no victims. They all were happy. They all got their money back, and they all did their own due diligence. Just give me one time. It was so brutal. You should watch if you're interested in this kind of stuff. I mean, it is absolutely brutal. They took them to task.
Can you post it on your X on the X account for the show?
I can. It's
okay.
If you just search New York Appellate Court on YouTube, it's there.
Oh, okay.
It is absolutely brutal. So. We're waiting for President Trump. Anything happening in sports tonight here, Slick, or anything going on?
Well, we got Dodgers playing right now. Dodgers and Padres Game 5 to see who goes on to take on the Mets. Sunday night will be Game 1 of the National League Championship Series. Mets will be flying to California either way. Whether they're going to land in San Diego or L.A. is to be determined, and that will be determined. Game is just underway in the second inning. No score at my last check, so we'll be tracking that tonight. And, well, you saw Barack Obama come out last night. Well, Herschel Walker had something to say about that. Herschel Walker to Barack Obama, telling us to vote based on color is a step backward. This is Warner Todd Houston of Breitbart. Former Georgia candidate for U.S. Senate Herschel Walker blasted Barack Obama for sending black people backward in equality by demanding they vote based on skin color. Walker's slam against Obama came after the former president warned that not enough black people, especially black men, are supporting Harris, according to the current polls. We played that video last night, if I recollect correctly. Barack Obama, you fought how hard hard we fought. You forgot how hard we fought for our right to vote. Telling us how to vote based on color is a step backward. The bad policies of Biden-Harris have hurt us all. We need unity, brother, not division, Walker wrote, adding a Together We Stand hashtag. Obama's comments followed a September 30th Pew Research poll that found only 84% of black people said they were planning to vote for Kamala Harris for president, while 13% said they were backing Trump. By contrast, Joe Biden won 92% of the black vote in 2020. Harris's declining support among black people has a lot of Democrat insiders worried, and Obama voiced that worry when he visited the important swing state of Pennsylvania this week. We have not yet seen these same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities as we all saw when I was running, Obama told Harris supporters in Pittsburgh. Now, I also want to say that seems to be more pronounced with the brothers. We played that last night, Obama exclaimed. So if you don't mind, just for a second, I'm going to speak to y'all and say that when you have a choice that is clear, when on the one hand, you have somebody who grew up like you, knows you, went to college with you, understands the struggles and pain and joy that comes from those experiences. There's that word joy, right? She's had to work harder and do more and overcome and achieve the second highest office in the land, Obama insisted. Despite Obama's pleas, black voters have been abandoning the Democrat Party. From 2018 to 2022, the Republican share of the black vote jumped from 9% to 13%. So Herschel Walker coming out and telling Barama, where you can stick that brothers comment last night. And, also we got another big name, the Kansas City Chiefs. You got Taylor Swift up there. Of course, she's endorsing Harris. Well, Chiefs kicker Harrison Butker endorses Donald Trump, the most pro-life president. Warner Todd Houston of Breitbart again. Kansas City Chiefs kicker Harrison Butker officially endorsed Donald Trump while speaking to Fox News host Laura Ingraham on Thursday. When Ingraham asked Butker if he is supporting Donald Trump, Butker insisted that he is voting for Trump because he is the most pro-life candidate up for election this year. I'm supporting the president that's going to be the most pro-life president. I think Donald Trump is right on that topic. That is the most crucial topic for me, Butker told Ingraham. I want us to be fighting for the most vulnerable, fighting for the unborn, and that's what we should prioritize. So Harrison Butker getting out there, right? He's been very political, the kicker for the world champion. That would be 5-0 Kansas City Chiefs. So that's what's happening in sports, making a little noise in politics too, Big D.
All right, Slick, very good. You're watching Real America's Voice. Of course, we got pre-rally coverage of President Trump. Going to take the stage in Reno, Nevada here in just a little bit. And I once again want to mention how thankful we are to all of our great sponsors who are sponsoring tonight. TrumpTumbler.com. I mean, that's just a great-looking tumbler, by the way. 100% made in the USA, headquartered in the USA, lifetime guarantee. For any reason, if your tumblers, anything that you've purchased is ever damaged, they'll give you a free refund, free replacement, no questions asked. I mean, this thing is insulated. You want to keep your drink hot or cold, it'll do it for up to 8 hours, 24 hours if it's cold, 8 hours if it's hot. Leak-proof, spill-proof, shatter-proof design, dishwasher, microwave, freezer safe. TrumpTumbler.com. Check it out. It's a great-looking picture of Trump standing on top of that tank. Get it while your supplies last, which, I mean, I don't even know if they're going to last tonight, but TrumpTumbler.com. Check them out. Of course, our friends at Birch Gold. You can see if gold is right for you. Contact our friends at Birch Gold and get the free, see if gold's right for you. They can convert an IRA, no cost to you, into an IRA and physical gold, tax-free, penalty-free. It doesn't cost you anything to try it out. Text America to 989898. Our friends from Birch Gold. Patriot Mobile, like we talked about before. Every call you make, you know you're not supporting the left. Important. Keep your plan, keep your phone, or you can upgrade. Patriot Mobile, 972-PATRIOT. The Wellness Company, of course, great stuff, Dr. Peter McCullough, and, of course, AMAC, the great work they're doing. So just great sponsors tonight joining us for pre-rally coverage, and we appreciate all of them. Rick Delgado, what's going on in the news? Any other news that's gone on today that's been hitting your radar?
I think the news that we're seeing is the CBS News is now the news.
Yeah.
Between 60 Minutes, and then there was a reporter who asked an author of this book, and I'll have that on Monday for you, about the context of the book. And now there's a whole brouhaha. They want this guy fired for asking questions, and then of course you've got the 60-minute edit of Kamala Harris's interview, and some people are saying that even that particular clip that they've uncovered, I think it was Mays Moore that uncovered it, that it's actually even worse than that. So that's been the big thing that I've seen, at least jumping out all over the place. Also, of course, what continues to happen in New York City. I mean, you can't make it up. It's insane. I know I read yesterday about all the people that were under investigation. They've been arrested. They've stepped down. Well, it turns out now the brand new interim New York City Police Commissioner, Mr. Donlin, expected to step down a month after taking the job. And this story just broke this morning. Yes, New York City Mayor Eric Adams is expected to name the city's next police commissioner as soon as next week, continuing to attempt to project stability in his embattled administration. This coming from, I think it's Fox News. While there are no plans to make any announcements until next week, at the earliest, interim NYPD Commissioner Tom Donlin is now stepping down at the end of this week. Ahead of the expected change at the top, Donlin found himself under the microscope as law enforcement executed a search warrant of his Upper East Side. Everybody's getting investigated. Everybody's getting searched. The search came after they received a tip that he retained classified documents from an investigation during his time with the FBI. Turns out, it says here, according to former NYPD Chief of Detectives Robert Boyce, he says, we're in turmoil right now, so we're looking for some real strong leadership to bring us together in this light, into a better light. Reporters chased Donlin and Adams following a news conference last night in an effort to gain clarity on the situation. And, it's getting to the point where I think Mayor Adams is probably, he could be days away from having to step down with all these people just falling beside him. Donlin was initially appointed to serve as the interim police commissioner for a period of time, but Governor Kathy Hochul has since made it clear that she expects the mayor to demonstrate stability at the top levels of city government, something we have not seen in the last few months with everything that's been going on. So that's, again, you can't make this stuff up. It's amazing, I guess, the kind of hijinks and shenanigans that the mayor and all of his deputies and all of his, right hands and left hands, what they've been up to. It's amazing. So, yeah, you've got that breaking out of New York City.
All right, very good. We're waiting for President Trump to take the stage in Reno, Nevada. I'm just glancing through some of the other news breaking tonight. One of the things I see is that the DOJ is suing Virginia and Glenn Youngkin for taking voters who should not be voting off the rolls. So we'll have to get to that, but we believe President...
So a very big hello to Reno. We love Reno, and hello to Nevada. It's great to be back in this beautiful state with thousands of proud, very, very hardworking American patriots. Thank you very much. Nice crowd, big, beautiful crowd. We always have a good crowd in Reno. We love it. Before we begin, I want to send our love to all of the people back east who are recovering from two really devastating hurricanes. Our hearts are with those who lost a loved one, and we are with you all the way. We're getting it straightened out, and we need better help from a thing called the federal government. We need better help from, I guess you could say, from Kamala. They've been very bad. They've been in particular bad to North Carolina and other parts that were really devastated, really bad, but we have to get them on the ball a little bit. God bless them all. God bless you all. Thank you very much. 25 days from now, we are going to win Nevada. We are going to defeat Kamala Harris, and we are going to make America great again. From the very beginning of this journey, I have been on a mission to rescue our nation from a failed and corrupt political establishment, and it is corrupt. And to give you back the country that you believe in, the country that you were born in, and the country that you deserve, and we're going to do it. In that mission, I will never quit, I will never bend, I will never break, I will never yield, not even in the face of death itself. Won't happen. As you know, I'm putting everything on the line to fight for you, and I am also only asking you for one thing. Vote. Get out and vote. Early mail-in voting is underway in Nevada right now, so return your ballot today. Vote Republican at every level and go. And we know that you're going to vote for Trump, and we're going to make America great again. We're going to turn around our country so fast. Yesterday, it was announced that inflation surged viciously again last month, coming in at a much higher number than anticipated. Your food prices went way up, higher than expected. Your rent and housing costs went up much more than expected. Your car prices went through the roof. Yet Kamala Harris has no plan to fix it. You ever hear her? She goes, well, no, we did everything wonderfully. The place is falling apart. Then she's got ideas. I know what I'm going to do. Why didn't she do it 3.5 years ago, right? Kamala has already cost the typical family $29,000 with her horrible inflation and the cost of inflation. Yet she said this week, when asked the question, that she can't think of one thing she could do differently, right? So, you know what? Take a look at the video. We're going to talk about that. Take a look, not one thing. Take a look at this.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
I stood there on the tarmac watching you check your watch.
The chaotic and deadly U.S. evacuation from Afghanistan stunned Americans and the world and cost the lives of 13 U.S. soldiers.
Would you have done something differently?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
More than 13,000 illegal immigrants convicted of murder have been caught at the border and then released into the United States.
An Afghan national is in custody today after being accused of plotting an election day terrorist attack. The suspect entered the U.S. on a special immigrant visa.
Gut-wrenching new details in the murder of Georgia nursing student Laken Riley. The illegal immigrant suspect, who cops say committed the heinous murder, is a Venezuelan national who crossed the unsecured southern border back in 2022.
2 men investigators say are in the country illegally from Venezuela are charged with capital murder in the death of Jocelyn Nungaray.
A fifth illegal immigrant accused of attacking 2 New York City police officers over the weekend showed no remorse or regret.
Would you have done something differently?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Only 18% say the economy is in excellent or good condition.
US inflation has hit a new 40-year high, increasing by 9.1% over the financial year.
The cost of homes have spiked. Home buyers need to earn 80% more than they did in 2020 to afford a house.
Were you the last person in the room? Yes.
So that answer that she would do nothing different is totally disqualifying. Our country is in crisis. We don't need 4 more years of gross incompetence, radicalism, and failure. We need strong leadership. We're going to change it. We're going to do such a great job. Your head's going to spin. Your head is going to spin. It's time for the people of Nevada to tell Kamala Harris. Does anybody know the name Harris? If you say Harris, everybody says, who the hell is Harris? That we've had enough. We can't take it anymore. We're not going to take it anymore. Kamala, you're fired. Get out of here. Get the hell out of here. Get out of here. So bad, the worst we've ever had. Look, he's the worst president in the history of this country. The worst. And she's the worst vice president. And she's actually worse than him, okay? We defeated him, and then now we have to defeat another one. I shouldn't have defeated him. It would have been just as easy. Think of it. I spent $150 million to beat him. And then we had the debate, and then everyone said he's out of there, so they got him out. It was a coup, you know. It was a coup. He hates Kamala more than he hates me, in my opinion. And that's a lot. And the problem is that she is actually less competent than him, and that's hard to believe, actually. With your vote in this election, we will quickly defeat inflation, and we will make America affordable again, because you have such a problem. On day one, we will unleash American energy, and I will cut your energy prices in half. 50%. I'm going to cut them. Within 12 months of taking office, we're going to cut them in half. We're going to cut them down 50. You know why? Because we have more liquid gold under our feet. I don't have to deal with other countries. All I have to do is say, let's go. We're going to have very large tax cuts for workers, and especially to help the hardworking people of Nevada. We will, listen to this one, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. No tax on tips. Think of that. No tax on overtime. That's why we're going to win, and service workers in Nevada, they love Trump, and I love you too. Take a little look at this. Everybody, take a look at this.
Tips. News reports confirm Biden and Harris have weaponized the IRS to confiscate your tip money. Harris and Biden have literally unleashed the IRS to harass workers who receive tips. And they just may be coming to your house next. Only President Trump has a plan that ends all taxes on service workers' tips. President Trump, he's on your side.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message. You know, what do I know? But this has to be the tipping capital of the world. I mean, you know, in some places I say no tax on tips, so we get, you know, nice. Here, I was in Las Vegas 2 weeks ago. I said, no tax on tips. The place went crazy. So you're the same thing. But also, no tax, think of it, on overtime. You do a lot of overtime, and that's a big problem. And for those of you who are seniors, now I would know about that because I'm not a senior. Michael, am I? No. I'll be a senior, what, another 10 years, 15 years? No, look, for the seniors, think of it. You've been destroyed on fixed incomes with inflation. They have destroyed you because of energy and because of the way they spent, like so stupidly on the Green News scam. But you've been destroyed, and now we have no tax on Social Security benefits for seniors. So. And we owe that to you, what they've done to this country. But, you know, I keep saying still the most important, the border. I mean, we can talk about inflation, and it's horrible. We can talk about it, but they let 21 million people in here, and many of those people, murderers, drug dealers, gang members, people from mental institutions. To me, you know, I watch, they say that the biggest thing is the economy and inflation, and the second biggest thing is the border and immigration. I sort of think it's maybe the other way around. Wait, we do a free poll. Ready? Which is bigger? Ready? I'll go border first. Border and immigration? Pretty big. Or the economy and inflation? I've been saying that. You know, in 2016, I won because of the border, and I made it so good. It was so good within 2 months, we had the best border. And that was it. And then I could never talk about it. My people said, sir, they don't want to hear it. You fixed it. But the problem is this border is 20 times worse. What they've done here is crazy. They either hate the country or something's going on. My message to every service worker in Las Vegas and Reno is this. If you vote for me, inflation will end. Your taxes will be cut massively. Your wages will skyrocket. Your savings and pensions will soar. And your retirement will be more prosperous. You're going to be so much more prosperous. You're going to be more secure. You're going to be safer. You're going to have a much better life. Just vote for me. Let's get it over with, okay? Much better life. Much better life. Under Kamala, it will be massive inflation, massive layoffs, massive tax hikes, and massive misery and depression. Kamala Harris will kill the American dream. That's what she's doing. And for your children, they don't have a dream with these people. These people, look, she's a Marxist. A lot of people don't know what a Marxist is. So let's put it simply, she's a communist. We're not going to have a communist leading our country. She's a communist. She's also known as the taxing queen. She loves taxes. This is the first time I've ever seen, I've been doing this stuff a long time, only for a short time on this side, but I became president, but I've been doing it for a long time. On the other side, writing checks and so I can contribute to guys like Senator John Cornyn of Texas and all. But I've never seen ever, all these great politicians are over here, where somebody's campaigning on massive tax hikes. She's campaigning, we will raise your taxes. And some people, they're not the smartest people, but they can, oh, thank you very much. I've never seen it. I've always heard politicians say, we will cut your taxes. Sometimes they don't mean it, but they say it. But these people openly say that they're going to raise your taxes. Well, and let's give her credit for one thing. It's probably the only thing she's honest about. She's going to raise your taxes at levels never seen before, and she's going to drive out all the jobs in the country that I created. Her plan will raise taxes for the typical American family by at least $3,000 a year. Watch this tax video. You have to watch this.
Joe Biden and I are about to get rid of that tax bill.
Calling for a full repeal of President Trump's tax cuts. If Kamala Harris was elected president, there are many different tax policies which could cripple the economy. But the first thing she wants to do is allow these Trump tax cuts to expire.
Even the New York Times admits that 85% of the middle class got a tax cut.
Americans will face a hike. The Tax Foundation finding that a couple with 2 kids making $165,000 a year would have to pay over $2,400 more in taxes.
And on day one, I will repeal that tax bill. Joe Biden and I are about to work to get rid of that tax cut. Joe and I are about to get rid of that tax bill. Joe Biden and I are about to get rid of that tax cut.
Everything from a 70 to 80% tax rate.
I think that's fantastic. We've got to increase the corporate tax rate. Part of that is going to be about repealing that tax bill that they just passed. And also looking at estate taxes are going to have to go up. We will tax capital gains. But we're going to have to raise corporate taxes.
Taxing unrealized gains just doesn't seem fair in any sense of the word.
When the value of your home goes up, you pay higher taxes even if you don't sell your home.
Your value of your home never moves the way the stock moves to say, we're going to tax what you don't have. That's a sore point, and it's a big deal. Is that something you think she firmly believes in?
I think it's part of the proposals of the campaign.
Under my plan, there will also be a carbon fee. There has to be some connection between the fee and bad behaviors, and there has to be, in that we have to monitor whether it's going to be passed on to consumers. But I'm going to tell you that should never be the reason not to actually put a fee, and in particular, a carbon fee.
Kamala Harris is going to significantly raise taxes.
Taxes are going to have to go up.
Kamala's plan will raise families' taxes by nearly $2,600 a year. Under Kamala, prices have already soared. Now she'd make it worse with even higher taxes.
Taxes are going to have to go up.
President Trump will cut taxes again. No taxes on tips, overtime, or Social Security.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
So she's looking to increase your taxes, the biggest economic disaster it will be in American history. I will deliver, and I'll tell you what, we're gonna show you some things pretty soon that are gonna be amazing. What we've done compared to what they've done, we've had the most successful presidency ever. They had a disaster. They've had a disaster. The biggest inflation ever. We talk about the senior citizens. The only reason I did that for the senior citizens is they've been devastated. It's been taken away from them. Everything's been taken away because of their inflation. So I'll deliver the biggest economic boom in American history. It's going to be the biggest. Take a quick look. You see what that says? But let's get back to business, because who the hell cares what it says? Look at that. I love the unrealized capital gain. In other words, it's an unrealized gain, but they're going to tax it anyway. That's a beauty. That'll be the first in history. And in Detroit yesterday, we had a great day in Detroit because we announced we're bringing the car industry back at levels never seen before. And we're going to make interest We're going to make interest on car loans fully tax deductible, because affording a car is essential to restoring the American dream. We're going to restore the American dream. To bring jobs and factories and wealth racing back to the United States, we will have a 15% made in America corporate tax rate, cutting the tax from 21 to 15, but only for those who make their product in America. Remember this. I'm the one that got it down from almost 40% to 21. Everyone said that was impossible. That led to a job boom, the biggest boom we've ever had in this country, and the numbers were great. Now, but it was better than competitive. It was good, but it wasn't the best. Now I'm bringing it down to 15, but only if you manufacture, if you make your product in the U.S. How good is that? Right, Michael? You have to make it here. You know, I had one of the top Wall Street guys call me. They said, who the hell gave you that idea? How simple is that? You've never heard anything like, if you make your product here, you get a lower tax. You don't hear it. It seems so simple, like the paperclip. Some guy made the paperclip a long time ago, and everybody looked and said, why the hell didn't I think of that, right? And for those who don't make their product in America, they'll be forced to pay a stiff tariff for the privilege of competing with our cherished companies that we are going to protect, because they're stealing our jobs, our treasure, our wealth, and we will take in hundreds of billions of dollars to benefit American citizens and pay. We are going to pay off debt. We're going to reduce your taxes still further. As an individual, we're going to reduce them, and we will be at a level of prosperity. It's called growth that we haven't seen in 60 years. You're going to have a 1929 style depression. And remember, you know the hat, it says Trump was right about everything. I really was right about it. I was right about it. You're going to have a 1929 style, not recession, depression. My pro-American trade policies are one of the major reasons why I've been overwhelmingly endorsed by the rank-and-file membership of the Teamsters, including 60% of the Teamster members in Nevada. Can you believe that, huh? Where are the Teamsters? Do we have any Teamsters? Are you guys? Where are the Teamsters? Thank you. They're good people. Traditionally, they go Democrat. But we got all over the nation, they endorse Trump, along with the police, along with the firefighters, along with everybody. Along with anybody that's sane. We got, don't forget, we're the party of common sense. We really are. You need a wall. You need good elections. You need a fair press. You need a lot of good things. You need a lot of good things, and we're going to have very good things. And you don't need criminals coming into your country either, by the way. So as we rebuild our economy, we will also restore our borders. And I've just come from Aurora. I just left Aurora, Colorado, where the person that was in charge of your border, we call her Border Czar, Kamala, she doesn't know she's alive, I'm telling you. She is so bad. Did you see 60 Minutes? So I've done 60 Minutes many times. I even had the great Mike Wallace say, he was actually a great one. Mike Wallace, the toughest of them all. He gave me a great one. But she was interviewed. Her answers were so bad that they put other answers in. They don't do that for me. We're just the opposite. Her answers, they take it away and put new answers in. My answers, they just cut them up. So that instead of 4 sentences that are perfect, it's one sentence that proceeds back, and all of a sudden, I used to say to him, why did you cut the hell out of my paragraph? I do the weave, right? Always a weave, right? And always end up in the right location. But I said, why did you do that, 60 Minutes? And remember, I had with Leslie Saul a big fight. Because she said, the laptop from hell came from Russia. And I said, Leslie, it came from the bedroom of Hunter Biden. It didn't come. And then I proved to be right, and I'm still waiting for them to apologize. But I'll tell you, what they did with her, I believe, is the biggest scandal in broadcast history. I do. If that were me right now, I probably wouldn't be allowed to speak. They'd have me tied up someplace like, sir, would you come this way, please? And when you think about it, I've been investigated more than Alphonse Capone, right? He was a killer. If he didn't like you, he would immediately kill you. I've had more investigations. These are corrupt people that we're dealing with. But what happens is this, what CBS did and 60 Minutes did, think of it, her answers were terrible because she's only, and I say it very respectfully, she's not a smart person. And we've had 4 years of that, and we can't have another 4 years because Russia and China and everybody, they're eating our lunch. We can't have another 4 years. So I don't get it. I don't get it. And oh, by the way, we're leading in all the polls. Yeah. We're leading, so we're leading, but we have to make it too big to rig, right? Too big to rig. We're leading by some pretty good margins, too. Michigan, we're leading, the car industry. Those auto workers love Trump because, we'll be ending that electric mandate very quickly. And we love electric cars, but, we want them for some people and some people not. We want gasoline propelled. We want hybrids, which are good. The only one we don't want, do you know the one we don't want? There's a certain car, hydrogen car. They have a new car. The problem is it doesn't go bad often, and it's quite efficient. But when it blows up, you're unrecognizable. Is that my husband on the tree? Let me take a look. I can't tell. I can't tell. No, I don't want that one. I'm not going to do that one. They say they think they can fix it. The word think is not acceptable. We think we can. So we'll forget about hydrogen, right? But we have a lot of alternatives, and, we got the endorsement of Elon Musk, you know that, right? And he said it's absolutely imperative we're going to save our country. I have to win. He gave me the strongest endorsement. He's a great guy, and he makes some great things. He helped us so much with North Carolina and Georgia. He said to Starlink, and they had no communication whatsoever in some area. And they said, "Sir, do you know Elon Musk?" I said, "I do. Do you think you could get a Starlink?" I said, "What the hell is that? Explain to me." But essentially, it's unbelievable form of communication. So I called up Elon. Hard to get because it's very successful. I called him up. I said, North Carolina in particular is in big trouble. It's almost been cut off from the mainland, and they have no communication. All their lines are down. This was a terrible thing. And the government's done very little. The federal government's done nothing. She's done nothing. She was like she's doing interviews on these stupid shows, and she's got to get there because they really have problems. But he said, well, I'll tell you. And we talked for about a second, and then I get a message from the people in North Carolina. We want to thank you that the Starlink will be coming soon. I said, Elon, how did you do that? We're talking. You agreed to do it, and now I get a call before we hang up that they expect it to be delivered. Nah, he's a great guy. He's a great guy. Saved a lot of lives. He saved a lot of lives in North Carolina. He helped the governor of Georgia. Georgia governor's doing a very good job, but they helped the governor of Georgia with the Starlink a lot. And he was there. I'll tell you, he was there, so he's good. He's our friend, right? Right? Kamala Harris has supported a savage Venezuelan prison gang. Other than that, they're fine people. Known as Tren de Aragua. Did you ever hear them? Tren de Aragua. But don't smile because they'll knock that smile off your face. They're not nice people. That has taken over an entire apartment complex. They are like me. They're in the real estate business. The difference is I do it with financing. They do it with weapons that we've never even seen before. Where do they get these weapons? And it's terrorizing the residents at a level never seen. They literally walk in and tell them, get the hell out of your apartment. They took over complexes. And they have a radical left governor who's petrified. He doesn't want anything to do with it. He's afraid. He's chicken shit, okay? He's afraid. They're breaking down doors. They're collecting the rent. Isn't it nice? They just come over from Venezuela. They are collecting the rent. You think and you know what the landlord said? Whatever you'd like, sir. You'd like to collect my rent, whatever you want. No, they are actually going around collecting the rent from now on. Let me tell you, if I were president now, those guys would be out of here before you left this room. Send them back. We're sending them back. But they're shooting people. They're smashing jaws, breaking skulls. Watch this video. You're not going to believe it.
Open borders, deadly consequences.
Border crisis. Record high crossings are putting a strain on cities across America.
It is a full-blown invasion.
Armed Venezuelan gang members storming an apartment complex in Aurora, Colorado.
When people talk about migrant crime, this is what they're talking about. Biden and Harris had created a program to bring them in under humanitarian parole.
I am in favor of saying that we're not going to treat people who are undocumented across the border as criminals.
More than 13,000 illegal immigrants convicted of murder have been released into the United States.
My 20-year-old daughter, Kayla Hamilton, was murdered in her own room. Kayla's murderer was apprehended by Border Patrol crossing illegally into the U.S.
Kayla's murderer had been improperly released into the United States.
Abolish ICE. Yeah, we need to probably think about starting from scratch.
An Afghan national is in custody today after being accused of plotting an election day terrorist attack. The suspect entered the U.S. on a special immigrant visa.
More than a dozen people suspected of being Tren de Aragua gang members right here in San Antonio.
The gang members had been terrorizing the apartment complex.
New details in the murder of Laken Riley. The illegal immigrant suspect, who cops say committed the heinous murder, is a Venezuelan national.
And was paroled and released into the country by the Biden administration.
2 men investigators say are in the country illegally from Venezuela are charged with capital murder and the death of Jocelyn Nungaray.
Court documents suggest a group of men arrested for beating and robbing a Dallas woman last month are members of a Venezuelan street gang.
Manuel Hernandez was booked by Colleyville police just 2 days earlier and released the day before the robbery.
These are our new citizens. These are the new people. These are the people that we have coming into our country, and we're now known as, and all throughout the world, as an occupied country. We're an occupied country, can you believe it? And you know, they have a lot of people. If you think about it, 21 million, not including the gotaways. You know what a gotaway is? Those are the people that just run and nobody knows who the hell they are. But we have 21, think of this, 21 million people, 13,000 murderers, to be exact, 13,099 murderers, the biggest drug lords in the world. They got them all out of Caracas, Venezuela. Do you know that Venezuelan crime went down 72%? Because they put all their criminals into the good old USA. We're not going to stand for it. We're an occupied state that refuses to let our great law enforcement professionals do the job that they so dearly want to do. You know, the law enforcement wants to do the job. They really want to do the job, and they're not allowed to do the job. They want to do it so badly, they're so good, but they don't want to lose their pension. They don't want to be fired and lose everything, lose their family, lose their house. But to everyone here in Nevada and all across our nation, I make this vow to you. November 5th, 2024 will be Liberation Day in America. Liberation Day. My teleprompter people do a great job. Thank God I don't use teleprompters so much. These people, they do a great job. No, I look at the teleprompter's totally gone. I say, what the hell happened? The sign fell on top of it. But I can level with you. Did you see her? Now here's the good thing. Isn't it nice to have a guy that doesn't need a teleprompter? Isn't it? As a president, a potential president that doesn't need a teleprompter. When you use it gets very boring when you use one. But how about her? There was 32 days left, and her teleprompter. You know, a teleprompter goes bad a lot. If you rely on a teleprompter, in other words, if you're like Biden, where he couldn't function without he couldn't function with a teleprompter. But if you need a teleprompter, like to, do like she did, it was just announced. Did you see the picture? She did a town hall using a teleprompter. You can't do that. No, think of it. You're walking around, there's no teleprompter. She's reading a teleprompter. It's following. Oh, it's terrible. You can't have her as your president. You can't have her as your president. But did you see where she was 32, right? It was 32 days, so she's going, and I'm watching her. I said, what the hell's wrong with her? She goes, 32, and the teleprompter went on. She meant 32 days till the election. So she goes, 32, 32, 32, 32, 32, 32. I said, what the hell is wrong with her? I called the First Lady. I said, First Lady, what the hell is wrong with her? 32. And then, thank goodness for her, the teleprompter kicked back in. But usually it doesn't kick back in. Usually it doesn't. It's, you got to be out there. I would say 5% of the time, if you want to do this professionally, like if you want to run for president someday, no matter how good you run, because I have a guy, Gabe, he's excellent. I've had some real bad ones, but I have Gabe. Some of the bad ones, they go so fast. I will go and pop, 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 pop. I say, slow the damn down. No, a good one is really like gold, right? But I don't use them that much because I find it's very boring. The concept I use, but I don't like it. But if you want to run for president, you have to assume that 5% of the time, even if you have good people, you're not going to have a teleprompter. For instance, when you do outdoors, I was with Bernie Moreno. He's doing very well for the Senate. And I think he's going to win in Ohio. He's got a chance. And I'm way up. And I went out, and I didn't want to do it because I said the weather's too bad, but that's okay. I did it. We had 45-mile-an-hour winds. This is in Ohio. That's like, I thought we were in Scotland, actually. And the teleprompters were bending because they're not strong. They're bending. They're going over. And that didn't matter because within about 2 minutes, they blew off the stage. They actually blew off. And we had 50,000 people. I'm standing there like this. I didn't have any notes, nothing. And you know what? He won the election. Thank you very much, President Trump. He won the election. And other than a few people that saw the things flying away, they flew away beautifully. Nobody even knew. So anyway, no, there's something wrong with her. When you can't get up and make a speech like normally, like with all the work we do, you think you could, for 40 minutes. Well, she makes very short speeches, too. Do you ever notice they're like 10 minutes? It's, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you. My name is Kamala. And she, she'll speak like so routinely. And I hate the word. They had word salad. The words. I don't like the sound of it, but it's sort of true. She just they're just words. They're put together. They don't mean anything. How the hell can we have a person like this to be our president? It's crazy. But I will round up the illegal alien gang members and they will be put in jail or thrown out of our country until not a single one is left. And we're going to call it Operation Aurora, if you don't mind, okay? Because they were the first to come. And this is happening all over the country, by the way. If they come back, it's an automatic 10 years in jail with no possibility of parole. Because we don't want them to come back. They got to stay out. And I'm hereby calling for the death penalty for any migrant that kills an American citizen or a law enforcement officer. Thank you very much. No, we have to do that. We have to do it. They're violent people. These are violent. Remember when Kamala said, people that come into our country are far less likely to commit a crime. Really? The fact is, they make our criminals look like very fine people. And that includes our murderers. They are very fine people. These people make us look like a bunch of babies, okay? And we get them the hell out of our country. They're destroying our country. They're ruining lives. We're getting them out. Kamala's open border policy will destroy Medicare and Social Security for seniors because they're stuffing them there. They're putting them everywhere, but they're stuffing them in. She let in 21 million people and wants to make them all citizens. She wants to make them citizens because there's no way of telling. They have no records. They have no anything. They let them in totally unvetted. Everyone's coming in, the murderers and whoever. She wants to have them come in and then they can loot, they can plunder, they can take everything that you've made in your life. They can destroy your lives. They can kill you. They can hurt you. She wants to make them all citizens. It's crazy. It's crazy. Remember, we're the party of common sense, and you know that doesn't work. A new study released this week found that if Kamala gets her way, illegal aliens will drain Medicare and Social Security to the tune of $2 trillion. In other words, they'll be useless, they'll be worthless. You won't get your Social Security worth, she'll kill it. And she has no idea, economically, with finance, she has no idea what the hell she's talking about. They ask her a simple question. When they asked her the other question, that was a disaster because she said, yes, I'll change a lot of things from Biden. And then she gets in trouble because he hates her so much. And she, what do you mean you'll change? So now they're fighting. So she doesn't know what the hell's going on. He's angry. Her people want her to say she'll have nothing to do with Biden because he's a disaster. And then she wants to say that she's okay, but Biden doesn't want that. So they go back and forth. This poor woman doesn't know what the hell is happening. I will protect Medicare and Social Security with no cuts. We're not going to have any cuts. And we're not going to raise the age. She's going to raise the age by 7 years on Social Security. We're going to have no cuts whatsoever, and we didn't have any. And there'll be no benefits for illegals, by the way. Already, Kamala is ransacking Medicare to pay for the Green New Scam. Do you know what the Green New Scam is? She actually wants $93 trillion. Think of this. That's bigger than our budget for like 100 years. 93. You know who made it up? AOC plus 3. We said, did you go to college on the environment? No. Do you have anything to do? This is AOC, right? Do you have anything to do with the environment? No. But I've decided that this is the way it is. All buildings in New York are going to be ripped down and new buildings are going to be built without windows. Because you see, a window is environmentally unfriendly, having to do with the heat, the gases, and the sunlight. The ideal building is tall, thin, with no windows whatsoever. It's a hard sell. If you can get somebody to buy it, you can sell anything. It's the only thing. Now, they have the craziest thing I've ever... But the total cost is $93 trillion. So if you add us, China, every other country in the world, and gave us about 40 years, we might be able... These people are crazy. They're destroying our country. They use it almost as a method of hurting us and hurting our country. And some countries laugh at it. You know, China laughs at it. Kerry goes over there on his private jet, lands, meets with President Xi. We don't want you to use coal anymore. Oh, okay, we'll work on that. We're going to start working on it. In the meantime, he's building a coal plant a week. Oh, we'll work on that. Kerry goes, he promised he'd work on it. He promised. What a fool. No, it's so embarrassing. You know, these people are very streetwise. They're brilliant people, and they're at the top of their game. We have a man that 30 years ago wasn't at the top of the game, and she's worse. I'm telling you, she's not as smart as Biden. Watch. And you see it now, and she's fading rapidly in the polls. The only reason she was okay is because nobody knew who the hell she was. They said Harris. Who the hell is Harris? Nobody knew who she was. And now they're learning that she's a communist. We're learning that all sorts of bad things about her. She's further left than Pocahontas. Do you know Pocahontas? Remember when they wanted me to apologize to Pocahontas? I said, I'll do it, because I destroyed her presidential campaign. She was leading for president, and then she said she was an Indian. Why are you an Indian? Because my mother told me I had high cheekbones. You can't get in trouble when you're telling the truth. That was her reason. And then when I heard that, I said, oh, let's call her Pocahontas. And because she didn't look like an Indian to me. But we drove her crazy. And then she fell for it. She went out and did a test, remember? And it came back 1,024th. In other words, somewhere in a million years, there may have been one guy there. And she was so happy. Remember? She was so happy that she released the finding. She thought it was good because maybe there was a tiny little chance. And then I said, well, I have more Indian blood than she has, and I have none, unfortunately. I'd like to have some. No, I'd like to have some. I would be very honored. But I have none. But I think I have more than she has. And that was the end of her political career. She likes me very much, but Pocahontas. Because of the Medicare cuts, Kamala passed with her tie-breaking vote on the Inflation Creation Act. Did you ever hear of the... I changed the name. I take a little... Much less liberty than 60 Minutes takes, by the way. They would take the whole damn thing out and write it for her. No, it's called the Inflation Reduction Act, right? And I thought... He says, you're right. The Inflation Reduction Act, and I call it the Inflation Creation Act. So that's not nearly as bad as 60 Minutes, right? 60 Minutes just took everything out. They say, listen, we put her on. She gave us this answer. If people hear this answer, she will immediately be thrown off. I mean, it's so bad. So why don't we just give her a new answer? So they took it out and gave her an entirely new answer. If I ever did that, or if that were ever about like a Republican, it would be the biggest scandal in history. I think it's going to be anyway. 60 Minutes should be taken off the air for what they've done. It should be taken off the air. And you know what else, John? They should lose their license. Because that's not just a little bad stuff. You know, they have licenses, these networks. They're worth billions of dollars. But the one thing is it says you have to be honest. That's election interference. They're interfering with the election. Am I right? They should lose their license, and 60 Minutes should be taken off the air. Because of a vote, 560,000 seniors are set to lose their Medicare Advantage plans. Did you know that? Oh, did I ruin your evening? No, it's going to happen in the next few weeks. Because of her vote, 560,000 seniors will lose their plan. In other words, Kamala is shafting fixed income seniors on Medicare to fund $7,500 tax credits for rich people to buy luxury electric cars. You know, we're subsidizing this whole crazy thing with the... Again, I love electric cars, but you can't do this. You can't do this. They don't go far. Lots of little problems. They're made in China. We don't have the material. But you know we do have? A lot of gasoline is down there. A lot of gasoline. I will stand up for our seniors and I will save Medicare Advantage. So seniors, you must vote for Trump or you're going to have a very unhappy rest of your life. But you got to get out and vote. You know, I learned the other day, I was saddened by it, because I have the endorsement of the NRA. I have all the, I have everybody endorsement. So, but here I was saddened by this. Evangelicals, where I'm like at 90%, but they typically don't vote very much. In other words, they vote like 15, 20%. If the evangelicals would vote, we would win in a landslide. So evangelicals, you got a lot of them here. Please vote. The other ones, there are two groups, especially, meaning they vote very, very disproportionately low. The other group, you know who doesn't vote? Gun owners. Gun owners. They don't vote. This has been true for 50 years. I think it's a rebellious thing, okay? It's rebellion. They're having a rebellion. Gun owners, get out and vote. Evangelicals, get out and vote. Or you're going to have somebody in office that's going to destroy your country. You also need to defeat your disastrous radical Democrat Senator Jackie Rosen and elect a great patriot to defend your Washington values and your values in Reno. Although, I don't know, Reno, can I talk about great values in Reno? Yeah, I think I can. I'm not sure if everybody's going to believe that one, but I believe it. I know a lot of great people from Reno. We have values and all different values, and you have great values here. she's good. Jackie Rosen is a disaster. She votes virtually 100% of the time. Originally, you know, she was a big Barack Hussein Obama. Have you ever heard of him? Remember Rush Limbaugh? Rush Limbaugh, he'd be talking about, we'd go, Barack, he like falling asleep, Barack Hussein Obama. That's Barack Hussein Obama. We miss Rush, right? But we've got Sean Hannity, and we've got Laura, we've got Jesse. We've got Gutfeld. How do you like Gutfeld? I did his show. You know, I did his show, and he had the highest rating last week, 2 weeks ago. I did his show. He had the highest rating in the history of the show, and he won the entire week in television. How about that? Is that? No, he's good. You know, he used to hate me. He used to hate me. He used to hate Trump. And then after about a year, I just said, that guy really doesn't like me much. Gutfeld, he's a great guy and very talented guy, but he hated me. Oh, it was terrible, and saying bad things. And then after about a year, I noticed it was a change. He said, you know, I don't love this guy, but he does everything. I mean, everything he says, he gets it done. Like, he defeated ISIS in record time. He said he was going to do that. He gave you the largest tax cuts in history, and he said he was going to do it. He got it passed in Congress. He gave you the largest regulation cuts, and he goes through this list. I didn't even know I did that much stuff. But he said, you know, I'm starting to like him, actually. He said, would you rather have a guy that you really like, but he gets nothing done, or a guy that you can't stand, and everything gets done that's good for the country? I built hundreds of miles of wall. I built 571 miles of wall. I was going to add to it, much more than I said I was going to build. He said he built the wall. Now, I will say this, I was going to add 200 miles more. I didn't promise to do that, but I thought it would be good. And when they came in, they sold a lot of that for 5 cents on the dollar. And I said, you know what? I think they want open borders. That's when I learned. I think they want open borders. But Gutfeld was great. So anyway, he had these great ratings. And now he really likes me a lot because he says, he does everything he says he's going to do. And I say I'm going to do more than anybody else says they're going to do because I'm a worker and I know how to get things done. So I would like you, if you would, because he's a spectacular man. And I'll be honest with you. Stan, would you stand up, please? There is nobody that has ever run for the Senate that has given up so much. He's given up so much. He's a great war hero, and he took a big hit. Big hit. He took a hit like nobody takes. And if they took a hit like that, most people wouldn't be around, and other people would just, they wouldn't know what to do. This guy, and he's got the greatest wife and family you've ever seen. And nobody has given up so much as Sam. And Sam, I want you to win so badly, and you know that. And he has my full endorsement and all of that stuff. But he's a great guy. And he's doing very well. He's against an unpopular person that has no respect in Washington. So let's see what happens. But he has my total and complete, as I say, endorsement. Thank you, Sam, very much. Thank you for being here. We're also pleased to be joined as well by Senator John Cornyn of Texas. John, please. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. And I think John agrees with me on Sam, what Sam has done and what he's given up, and he's a big hero. He really is a big hero. Another great one is Wesley Hunt of Texas. Stand up, Wesley. Wesley's fantastic. He's a great guy. Mark Amadai of right here, right around here. Come on, Mark. Where is Mark? Thank you, Mark. Good. Good job. He's a warrior. And a great football player and a great congressman. I used to watch him on the great Sean Hannity. Does anybody know Sean Hannity? You are right now on Sean Hannity because we're live on Sean Hannity. And he's great. He's great. He's one of the most successful guys in show business, and you wouldn't know it. He's a modest guy, but he's got some mouthpiece, so I got to tell you. He's modest, but those lips move. but we have some really good people. But Sean Hannity is great, and that whole group, Jesse, has been great. Pete Hegseth, Rachel, they have a lot of good people, and then they have a few that I can't stand, I'll be honest with you. And I think it hurts them badly, if you want to know the truth. But they have some really, really good ones, and it's an honor. Who? Tucker's great. Tucker's great. And speaking of Tucker, because he liked this guy, how did we like J.D. Vance the other night? Right? Right? J.D. Vance was unbelievable the other night. So, Burgess Owens, please stand up. Great football player, great man, great friend of mine. He's been my friend from the beginning, even before the beginning. He was saying, I hope Trump runs. You know him? No, I don't know him, but I think he'd do a very good job. And so he was there before the beginning. And the Nevada GOP chair, we have a man who works his ass off, right? Michael McDonald. Stand up, Michael. So are we going to win, Mike? We're going to win? He's the Nevada chair, and he's working hard. We're 6 points up. Did you know that? But I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it, Michael. Always I say assume that you're 1 point down, right? Assume you're 1 point down. In 4 incredible years under the Trump administration, we achieved more than any administration in the history of our country. We passed record tax cuts, biggest tax cuts in our history. They want to end them, and that would raise your taxes at levels that nobody's ever seen before. You know, you have one thing in those tax cuts that I hope people appreciate. The estate tax for small businesses, farms, and other things, it's non-existent. You are leaving your farm or your small business to your children, and they had to go out and borrow money to pay the tax, and they'd oftentimes lose it and be depressed for the rest of their lives and worse. And I got that out. You don't have any estate. When they end this, that comes back. And that's, you know, I only tell you that to the people that love their children, because if you don't love your children, it's not really worth that much, to be honest. Is there anybody in the room who does not love their children? I've only had, I've said that about 10 times. I've only had one person raise. I said, and I thought he was kidding, and he actually wasn't kidding. But that's a big deal. Think of that. You have no estate tax. You leave your farm now, and they can operate the farm. And, you know, because a lot of farmers, they have great value. But they don't necessarily have a lot of cash. A lot of businesses, they have a value. They have valuable businesses, but no cash. They couldn't pay. They go out, they borrow, and all of a sudden they end up losing it. That won't happen. But if they end our tax cut, you know, that's part of it. So it's to me, it's a very important part. Record tax cuts, record regulation cuts, more than any other administration in history. And we achieved an all-time low unemployment rates, record low poverty rates, and rising wages for everyone at the highest level ever. We had the most successful country in the history of in our history. We never had, and probably in the history of the world, we had never had a period of time like this. And we had, remember this, we also had the best border. Remember that famous, remember the graph that I like more than any graph ever, ever, ever? Because I wouldn't be here. Do you have that graph by any chance? Put it up. I love this piece of beautiful paper. Where is it? Oh, I love it. Oh. I love it. You see the line on the bottom? The red line? That's the lowest point. That was my last day in office. That was the lowest we ever were on illegal immigration. That includes drugs and a lot of other things too, by the way. But look at that. And then it exploded like a rocket ship. Look what happened to it. And now it's worse than ever. But what a beautiful, even if that red line wasn't there, if it was 2 inches to the right, I'd still say what a beautiful piece of paper. Because if I didn't turn to the right to look at that beautiful piece of paper, I wouldn't be talking to you tonight, you know? Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, I just realized, I just went like this. Yeah, that's what I did. I went like that. We ended the NAFTA disaster, canceled the TPP, which would have been a disaster for your state, withdrew from the ridiculous, one-sided Paris Climate Accord, and stood up to China. We stood up to China like never before, bringing in tens of billions of dollars when no other president got 10 cents from China. Not Bush, not Obama. They never got. In fact, I put on taxes and tariffs. I took in billions, hundreds of billions of dollars from China. It never happened before. And don't let that baby bother you, because it doesn't bother me. To me, it's that beautiful. Where is that baby? That's a good-looking baby. Don't worry about it, Mom. It doesn't bother me. You know what it means? Happy, youthful, beautiful baby, perfect baby. Thank you. We had the most secure border in U.S. history, fully rebuilt the U.S. military, and created a thing called Space Force. That hasn't been done, remember that, that hasn't been done since Air Force 82 years ago. We obliterated ISIS, and with the Abraham Accords, we made peace in the Middle East, but Biden didn't follow it up. They don't follow anything up. I'm proud to be the first president in decades to have started no new wars. I finished wars. And I also gave you $35 insulin, which Biden and Kamala are trying to take. You know, I was the one that did it. And, you know, it's interesting because I did it, but it doesn't kick in for like 2 or 3 years by statute. And when it kicked in, I said, you know, I better win this thing, because otherwise whoever the hell is president, they're going to take credit for $35 insulin. No, I did it. I did it. But those 4 wonderful years of peace and prosperity have been followed by 4 years of misery and failure under the worst president and vice president in American history by far. It's true. It's true. In fact, Jimmy Carter is the happiest man today. You know, he's almost 100, I guess. He's celebrating. He's very close to 100. And he is now happy because he goes down as a brilliant president by comparison to Biden. He didn't have a border like this. He didn't have the problems that we have. We're going to end up in Third World War with this guy. We're going to end up in a Third World nuclear war because of this guy, because he doesn't have a clue what the hell he's doing. And she is worse. Remember I said it. She is worse than him. She's not as smart as him, and he's not smart at all. But here are the facts. Kamala Harris is a radical left Marxist, rated even worse than Bernie Sanders. She was an original creator of defund the police movement. Think of that. Anybody that was involved in defund the police, even for a day, let alone years, is not worthy of being president of the United States, because we cherish our police. We cherish our police. Kamala Harris vowed to abolish. She vowed to abolish ICE. You know, ICE, these are great patriots. They also happen to be tough people. They take MS-13 gang members out. They deposit them back in their country where they came from. It's a tough job. I mean, I have some tough friends in the front row. They don't want to be member. Would you like to be a member of ICE and run into a pack of MS-13 killers and swing it out for about 2 hours and then stand up and say, let's get them out of here? You wouldn't. Tough guys don't want any part of it. They're tough and they're smart. But you know what? They love our country and they do an incredible job. And she wants to get rid of them. She wants to get rid of ICE. It's not going to happen. She wants to ban fracking, as you know. She wants to ban anything having to do with fossil fuel. She imposed the natural gas export ban and is now shutting down power plants and destroying our electric grid with her crazy Green New Scam regulations. Energy prices are already up this year 50% in Nevada under Kamala. They're going higher. They're going to be maybe double within a year from now. She lost more, and here's to me the worst, because she said no, she'd like to keep everything just the way it is. This is to me the worst. She lost 325,000 migrant children. They're gone. They're gone. No, but you can't understand. Think of it. 325,000 children are missing. Most of them are dead, in my opinion. and they might, she said all of them, they might be all. They're either sex slaves, slaves, dead, or just missing. But many of them are dead. And she said, I want to keep it just like we've had it. There's never been a travesty like that. Think of that. Think of that in relation to wars and everything else. There's never been anything like that. They're innocent kids. Their parents will never see them again, most likely, most of them. And she has the 13,000 illegal alien convicted murderers roaming free in our country, free to kill again. As California Attorney General, she redefined child sex trafficking, assault with a deadly weapon, and rape of an unconscious person as totally non-violent crimes. No, she's radical left. She just moved a little bit toward MAGA when she realized she wasn't getting any votes, right? In fact, we're going to send her a MAGA hat, I think, tonight. And she pledged to confiscate your guns and endorsed a total ban on handgun ownership. She sponsored a bill to oppose a 100% ban on gas-powered automobiles. Can you imagine that? You have to give up your automobile. Darling, I really want to drive to Washington, but I don't want to make 7 stops. She even called for free sex changes for illegal aliens in detention. At taxpayer expense, one of the most expensive operations, by the way. That's the least of the problems. And perhaps most revealing of all, she lied about working at McDonald's. How simple is that? No, she said everything that she had. I worked hard at McDonald's for a long time. I worked over the French fry bin. You know what I'm doing next week? I'm going to a McDonald's to work. Because if I work there for 10 minutes, I will have worked there longer than her. You know, in many ways I don't like talking because it's so basic, you know, it's just so, but there's something beautiful about it too. It's so simple. She said she worked at McDonald's, meaning I worked so hard. It's hard work. She worked at McDonald's. It turned out to be a lie. She's a liar. That's why I call her Lion. That's why I call her Lion. I had her as comrade. Okay, here's another poll. Who likes Comrade Kamala Harris? Comrade meaning like, you know, sort of a communist thing. Or who likes Lion? Let's do Comrade first. Who likes Comrade? Comrade Kamala Harris. Lion Kamala Harris. I guess that's the end of that one. But when you vote this November, and I did 3 of them today. I did a little one, a little tiny one with a small group, and then I did a really big one. I did a big one, and I did this one, and I'm still raring to go. They say, how the hell do you get the energy? How do you get the energy? How do you get that energy? But I love doing it. You know why? Because I see it. We're making so much progress. We're exposing her for what she is, an incompetent communist, and people aren't going to have that. Because we don't have a choice. If we don't win this election, you know, there are those people that say you'll never have another election if we don't win this one. That could be possible. Look at Venezuela. Look at so many places. It sounds far-fetched. It's not at all. Look at what's happened in just 3.5 years. Look at what's happened to our country in 3.5 years. We have to get out. We have to win this election. But with your vote this November, we are going to defeat these radical left country destroyers, and we are going to finish what we so brilliantly started. We had it going so good. On day 1, I will close the border. I will stop the invasion of illegals into our country. And we will begin the largest deportation operation in the history of the United States. We have no choice. The illegal migrants coming into our country are taking the jobs of American citizens, but you know what they're really taking? The jobs of black and Hispanic workers. They're taking the jobs. Black community, Hispanic community is being decimated by what's happening. They're coming in and they're taking the jobs. And you know what's going to be next? Unions are going to become, they're going to be next. They're going to take a lot of union jobs away. They're going to take jobs away, period. But the black community, you saw the bad numbers last week. They were terrible. They got down. You know why? Because they're hiring people where you had a job for years, and now all of a sudden somebody else is taking the job. And it's also affecting the Hispanic people. And my numbers with the black, and especially black men, I love black men. I love them. I love them. I have gone through the roof with black men. Black men. I don't do quite as well with black women, I must say. I don't know why, but I'm sure that'll work out too. But I do appreciate it. I do, and we're doing unbelievably with Hispanic. The Hispanic population has been incredible. We will quickly become energy independent as we were before and make America the dominant energy producer in the world by far. We will frack, 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 and drill, baby, drill. Get our prices down. And we will terminate the insane mandate demanding that you have to have all electric. Everybody has to have an electric car within a very short period of time. That goes for trucks and everything else. You know, the truckers, it doesn't work. The battery is so heavy. You know that a battery for a truck is so heavy that you'd have to rebuild every bridge in America because they can't handle the weight. That doesn't affect these people. The other thing is you'd have 6 stops between New York and Los Angeles. With diesel, you'd have none and can even come back 10%, okay? You'd have none. Think of it. And it takes up a lot of payload. But think about it. It's much heavier. The battery's very heavy, right? Very, very heavy. You would have to rebuild every bridge in America because it's not designed for that kind of a load. Can you believe it? And I said to this gentleman, one of the big truckers, one of the biggest, maybe the biggest in the world, I said, have you told them that, yes, what did they say? We don't care. We want you to build all electric. And he ain't doing it. I'll tell you, he's not doing it. I said, how many trucks do you have? He said, 29,000. I said, you got 29,000. How big are they? They're all 18-wheelers? Is that what it is? The big ones are 18-wheelers. I said, you must be very rich. He said, I'll tell you what, they're going to try and make me poor. He said, you know, he said something interesting. He said, sir, I've been buying trucks for 50 years, and every year they get better, more efficient, stronger, bigger, better looking. And now we even build beautiful, call them an apartment. We build beautiful apartments behind that cab, and they are beautiful. This guy loves trucks, and they are beautiful. Sir, honestly, you'd be proud to live in one of them. And I said, how about the First Lady? You think she'd love it? I don't know. I don't know if she'd love it. I can handle it. I don't know if she would like it. I don't know if she... By the way, go buy her book. Her book is great. I was a little nervous when I read it because I said, I wonder if she's going to be hitting me hard. No, she was very nice. Otherwise, I wouldn't recommend it. It's very simple. Now, go buy it. It's great. It's number one bestseller. I will stop outsourcing and turn the U.S. into a manufacturing superpower. Working with Elon Musk, we will slash a record amount of government waste. He's good at that. That's what he wants to do. He doesn't want to be a secretary. He doesn't need it. He's got rocket ships all over the place. He's a wild man, I'll tell you. But you know what he wants to do? He said, I can cut costs, trillions of dollars, and nobody will be even affected, and our country will be back in great shape. Between that and charging countries that come in and plunder and steal, we'll have a country that's a machine. We're going to make a beautiful machine, and then we're going to take all that money and pay off debt and help people that are not in good shape and sick and old and tired. But he wants to do that. He doesn't want anything. He doesn't want a title. He just wants to say, look, there's so much waste and abuse and fraud. You ever hear the expression, fraud, waste, and abuse, right? Levels that you wouldn't even believe. You know, when I cut the price of Air Force One, I bought it. Sir, it will be $5.8 billion. I said, nope, I'm not doing it. I was supposed to walk in and sign it because I said, who negotiated the contract? They said, Barack Hussein Obama. I said, well, then it's too high. They said, why do you say that, sir? Because he negotiated it. It's too high. And I said, it has to have a 3. You know that, sir. It has to have it. So I waited, Boeing. And then finally they said, oh, boy. Because, they thought they had. So think of it. If I didn't do that, they would have made $1.7 billion. I said, because they ultimately cut it down to $3,999,99999 and 1 penny. I said, it's got to have a 3 in front. This had a 5 and it's 5.7. So I said, let me ask you a question. So if I didn't come along, you would have made 1.7, same exact plane, right? Except I had a much better paint job, much nicer. It's true. It was red, white, and blue the way it should be. It wasn't baby blue, it was blue. Not that little baby blue. But no, I did a great job on it. But I said to the head of Boeing, I said, this was before the 2 planes went down. This is before the problems for Boeing. Boeing was considered maybe the greatest, but certainly one of the greatest companies in the world, and now they've suffered a lot. But this was before. I said, you mean if I didn't come along, you would have made $1.7 billion on this. Actually, it's 2 planes, It's Air Force One is actually 2 planes, 2 identical planes, 747s. You would have made $1.7 billion? He said, well, we of course, they would. The answer is they would have made $1.7 billion. So Elon's actually right, because they shouldn't make that kind of money on it. But I got him down $1.7 billion. It took about 2 months of not returning phone calls. I will end the war in Ukraine, stop the chaos in the Middle East, and prevent World War III. I will crush violent crime and give our police the support, protection, resources, and respect they so dearly, look, you know that, they dearly deserve it. We're going to give our police their respect back. They want to do the job. No, but think of that, with all the criminals that are being put in all over the world. This is not just South America. We mentioned Venezuela, but it's all over the world. Crime is down all over the world. Prison populations are down all over the world. They're delivering into the United States mental patients, prisoners, killers, drug dealers, gang members, criminals, street criminals. They're all here. They're all going to be here soon. We're not going to allow it to happen. Not going to happen. We will strengthen and modernize our military. We will build a missile defense shield, all made in the USA. And we will not have a woke military. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. You'll like this.
You little scumbag! I got your name! I got your ass! You will not laugh! You will not cry! You will learn by the number!
Happy Pride. Happy Pride Month, and actually, let's declare it a summer of pride.
So you're a killer? Sir, yes, sir! Let me see your war face! Sir, you got a war face? Ah! That's a war face! Now let me see your war face! Ah! Bullshit! You didn't convince me! Let me see your real war face! Ah!
I hear it and I know, I know you wanna take.
You will be a weapon. You will be a minister of death, praying for war. But until that day, you are pukes. You are the lowest form of life on earth. You are not even human fucking beings. You are nothing but unorganized, grabastic pieces of amphibian shit.
How to abracadabra, these bitches know I got answers the way I.
It looks to me like the best part of you ran down to cracking your mama's ass and ended up as the brown stain on the mattress. I love working for Uncle Sam. I love working for Uncle Sam. Let me know just who I am. Let me know just who I am. 1, 2, 3, 4, United States Marine Corps. 1, 2, 3, 4, United States Marine Corps.
It may not be politically correct, but we won 2 world wars. We won 2 beautiful, big, ugly wars. And And we are in a woke mode. Look, I defeated ISIS in a matter of weeks. It was supposed to take years. And those people did it. And I had great generals, not the guys you see on television that don't know what the hell they're doing. And they are woke. But the military, you could take these military guys that we have and put them into a woke cage. They call it a woke cage. Scream at them for 2 years about wokeism, and they come out and they want to beat your ass. We have very tough, smart, great military. We have to take care of our military, though. We gave billions and billions of dollars of it to Afghanistan, to the Taliban. You know, we didn't have one soldier killed in 18 months. They were going along killing our soldiers. And I made a phone call, and the fake news, that's a lot of fake news back there. Look. The fake news. That's a lot. That's a lot of cameras. It's amazing when I watch and I see those red lights. You know, when the red lights are on them. And sometimes I'll point to them, and as soon as I start pointing, those lights go off so fast. We will lead the world in space and reach Mars before the end of my term, and we will rebuild our cities, including our capital in Washington, D.C., making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. And I will support universal school choice, very important. And we will get critical race theory and transgender insanity the hell out of our schools. And we will keep men out of women's sports. I will defend the Second Amendment, protect religious liberty, restore free speech, and we will secure our elections. Under the Trump administration, we will put American citizens first, American children first, American patients first. You cannot get into a hospital, by the way, because the migrants have all of the beds. You cannot get into a hospital. You cannot get your kids into a school because there are migrants there that don't even speak the language. It's unbelievable. They're giving, because of Biden and Kamala, they're giving precedence over your children who've been in that school. Is it not even thinkable? I will put American taxpayers first, American workers first, and American communities first. And we will put communists and Marxists and fascists last. We're going to put them last, way down at the bottom. And they will always be last. We will defend our territory. We will not be conquered. They're trying to conquer us. Think of it. These guys are walking in with guns that are more sophisticated than our military has. They have no money. They come in from different parts of the world, and they have better guns than we have. There's something going on, but I'll get to it very quickly. It's going to end. It's going to end unpleasantly for them. We will reclaim our sovereignty, and I will give you back your freedom, your life, and your country. Everyone will prosper. Every family will thrive. And every day will be filled with opportunity and hope. We're going to bring back the American dream. But for that to happen, we must defeat Kamala Harris and stop a radical left agenda once and for all. We want a landslide that is too big to rig, too big to rig. And again, early mail-in voting is underway, and you have to get out there and do it and get everyone you know to vote. Because think of this. After everything that we've been through a lot together, right? These are vicious, horrible people. I call it the enemy from within. We stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. If we win this election, we're going to have the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. With your help, from now until Election Day, we will redeem America's promise. We will put America first, and we will take back the nation that we love. November 5th will be the most important day in the history of our country. And together, we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you very much. Thank you, Reno. Thank you. God bless you. God bless you all.
All right, there you go. President Trump live from Reno. He said it was the third one of the day. I didn't even realize that. Wow. I knew he did, obviously, the one in Colorado. We streamed that earlier today. We watched the president, but said he did one even before that with a small group of people. His third one going. It looks like he could go do another one.
Where does he get this energy? Where? He's amazing.
I mean, it really is unbelievable. This guy never stops. Just never. The energy never stops. The determination never stops. The drive never stops. Speech is, it's taken on some new elements there. President doing a lot of video elements to kind of hammer home the points there.
Yeah.
Crowds keep getting bigger. The energy keeps growing. You can feel the momentum growing. Again, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves and get caught up in our own drinking of our own Kool-Aid, but you can just feel the momentum. You know it's right there for him. I'll tell you how you know. Look at what's going on in Virginia tonight. We talked to Ben Berkwam before about what would be any October surprise, what would be the concerns. I started to say this before, and then we had to jump to Trump because he was coming on stage. The DOJ is suing in Virginia tonight. The Department of Justice is suing Glenn Youngkin, who put out on X tonight from the governor of Virginia. With less than 30 days until the election, the Biden-Harris Department of Justice is filing an unprecedented lawsuit against me and the Commonwealth of Virginia for appropriately enforcing a 2006 law to remove non-citizens from the voter rolls. Virginians and Americans will see this for exactly what it is, a desperate attempt to attack the legitimacy of the elections in the Commonwealth, the very crucible of American democracy. And Jeff Clark, who, by the way, would be another great Trump Attorney General consideration, says, this is a very important post by the governor of Virginia tonight, raises the alarm bells in Virginia. But it also shows that DOJ clearly has a role in elections when it opts to do things like this. Democrats argued for 4 years that the DOJ had no such role, and therefore that my work inside the Justice Department was illegitimate. That was wrong then. Any DOJ suit or investigation must be met on the merits, which I have no doubt Governor Youngkin will do. The rules for Democrats are always different than what they say the rules are for Republicans. So the Department of Justice going after the governor in Virginia tonight for removing non-citizens from the voter rolls. Think about that. They'll argue it's because of the calendar and the time and the days and, you're not under 30 days, under 90 days. You're not supposed to do this with the voter roll. They are suing because the governor of Virginia is taking non-citizens, votes that they see as votes for Kamala Harris, off the voter rolls. That's what's going on in Virginia. All right, let's go live back out to Reno, and our own Ben Berkwam is on the ground, was in the room. Let's bring Ben back in, if Ben's ready. And Ben, we were just saying, man, the president, the energy of this guy never stops. Third one of the day. He said he did a small private one in group. We watched the one in Colorado. Now the one tonight. He sounds like he could go do another one if he had to. The energy with this guy never stops. You can feel the momentum. Like I said, it seems like he's peaking here at early voting time. It seems like it's right there in front of him for the taking. But I also just read a story, and we were talking about this before. The DOJ is on the move, suing Governor Youngkin in Virginia for taking non-citizens off the voter rolls under 30 days to the election. So They're on the move as well. Desperation is setting in. They're going to do everything they can. Give me your thoughts here as we close out the night.
Yeah, well, it's something to be said. I've been following President Trump for a long time, and there's nobody I know in the country or around the world that has the energy that President Trump has. And I would say, a lot of it has to go back to clean living. He gets a bad rap for having McDonald's every now and then, but he's a guy who has never drank in his life. He's never done drugs in his life. He's basically lived a clean life, and I think it shows compared to Joe Biden, who's just fallen apart. I think it shows. I mean, I do a lot. I travel a lot. I don't have anywhere near the energy that President Trump has. It truly is incredible. And as far as the night goes, a couple things of note. One thing was when he did a poll here. We were talking about this earlier. He did a poll asking people what their top issues were. He said the economy or illegal immigration. And what was shocking was illegal immigration got at least double the applause that the economy has. And so I knew illegal immigration, obviously we know that's a big deal, but I think it's really incredible that issue has really galvanized the American people, that one in particular, because it affects everybody, because it affects the economy, it affects everything. But the humor of President Trump, just a couple things. When he said, I say it respectfully, she's not a smart person, and obviously I don't do President Trump's voice very well, but just the way he lines this up, I say it respectfully, she's not a smart person. I mean, it's just amazing. And then he obviously called the governor of Colorado chicken crap. I used a different word than he used.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, if you listen to the direction that President Trump wants to take America, and I actually personally prefer Comrade Kamala than Lion Kamala. I think she is a communist, and I think it's important that we highlight that. But if you compare the direction that President Trump and MAGA want to take America compared to the direction that the left want to take America, there is no choice, guys. Unless you want your children's future destroyed, unless you want World War III, unless you want illegal aliens murdering and raping your family, unless you want $10 a gallon gas, I mean, I don't even see how anybody with a brain even has to consider this as a choice. But I think there's just a lot of ignorant voters out there, and so you're going to have some people voting for, I don't know, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, talking about quotes from the president tonight, Make America Great Again has really become a movement to take the country back from corrupt politicians, honestly, on both sides of the aisle. But the quote that stuck out with me, he said, we're going to bring back the American dream. We want a landslide that is too big to rig. Get everyone you know to vote. We stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. We will take the nation that we love back. And I mean, if you had to sum it up, Ben, just in your closing thoughts here, I mean, that's what it's all about, right? Take the country that we all love back to when we were kids, back to the way we grew up, back to the things that were normal then.
That's it. Yeah. And then, just compare the military. He ended with that video clip of the military then versus now. I mean, it's so simple. All we want is the America that we grew up with. We want America where we can be proud to be an American. We want America where people in universities actually teach that America is a great country because it is the greatest country in the history of the world. We want America where our children can grow up and be hopeful for the future. We want America where our children are taught that America is a great country. We want America where our churches aren't attacked and demeaned and destroyed. We just want America back. I mean, it's really simple. That's it. That was really it. I picked some of the humorous stuff, but you're right, Damon. That was the quote of the night for President Trump, undoubtedly.
Ben, we always love having you on. You do great work. Law and Border, another episode you said it's coming out soon. We'll keep an eye on that. Thanks for everything you do, traveling the country, following the president down at the border. The great Ben Bergquam here on a night, President Trump live from Reno. Ben, always appreciate it. Thanks, my friend.
My pleasure. Always great to be with you guys.
All right, Ben Bergquam live from Reno. Slick president, like you said. Man, the energy never stops. He's fired up, and I think he's got good reason to be.
Incredible. You know what? I love the roar. We're going to get men out of women's sports. The place went, wow.
Yeah, well, he usually follows that up with, you believe I even have to say this?
I know. But when I heard that, it was such a roar. I'm like, wow, that's for me, that's going to be everything.
Yeah. Well, once again, before we wrap, I want to thank Aaron and Fran, of course, most of all. Great job. And I want to thank Parker and all the crew over at Real America's Voice, everybody on site there as well. Everybody did a great job. But most of all, I want to thank our sponsors tonight again, TrumpTumbler.com, Birch Gold, Patriot Mobile, and, of course, the Wellness Company and AMAC. Great companies. Go check them all out. All great stuff, and we appreciate them being a part of this special night as we watch President Trump in Reno, Nevada. Slick, before we leave, let's do a little live from Studio 6B work here.
Okay.
And Aaron, you can jump on here quickly, too. We'll do the quickest version of the odds maker since it is Friday night, and I want to apologize to, who was it, Aaron?
Casey from Southern Indiana.
Casey from Southern Indiana was supposed to join us tonight, but obviously that didn't work out. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring her on next week, along with next week's guest, which I believe is Farmer Brooke, right?
Yes.
Oh,
okay,
great
so we're going to
Farmer
have
Brooke.
2 guests next week on Friday for the odds makers.
Nice.
But just quickly, give me your games that you were going to pick, Slick,
Okay, real quick. Yep.
and with the lines.
Okay, college. I'm going to take Texas, number 1 Texas, 14.5 over Oklahoma.
Okay, Texas minus 14.5.
Correct. I got the Cardinals +5 over Green Bay.
Cardinals +5.
Chargers -3 over the Broncos.
Chargers -3.
And game 4, Falcons laying 6 over. Well, no,
and Falcons -6. All right, Aaron, what are your 4?
My 4 are Texas over Oklahoma, 14.5.
Okay.
Lions over Dallas, -3.
Okay.
Ravens over the Commanders, -6.5.
Okay.
And Giants over the Bengals, +3.5.
Okay, taking the points with Big Blue. Very, very good. All right, very good. There you go, everybody. As always, we salute our military, active and active police, firefighters, first responders, emergency personnel, everybody that keeps the country safe and moving. Thanks to everybody on the show. Aaron Frank, great job as always, like we said. Parker and the crew, Real America's Voice, great job as always. But most of all, we want to thank you, the real American voices out there, for joining us for Trump Live from Reno, Nevada. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend, and we will see you. I'll see you Monday morning. We'll see you here Monday night, 8 p.m., back live from Studio 6B. We'll see you then. Have a great weekend. Back to your regularly scheduled programming now on Real America's Voice.